Well, look who showed up again.
Hello.
God damn it.
Hello.
Hey,
Don't
what's up, man?
Yes,
Okay, well, we're
Oxford Francis has invaded.
yeah, we
I
got
love
lost
Parks
in
Parade.
tech issues. Or I did. The demons, confused by the whole situation, one of them being banished, allows you guys to kind of take them out, charge in there. Ferrum attacks the matron mother, multiple times, and then Alucard kind of is there after a teleport with Letitia, and he stabs her with his rapier and then traps her soul in a cage. There's an interrogation that happens of the soul after a lot of discussion from the group about what the fuck just happened. And Letitia's attempting in the process to break the mind of the matron mother. Alucard then forces the divine power of, well, the magical power, I don't know if it's divine, of the soul cage.
Oh no,
And
it's necromantic. It's
okay.
far from divine.
And forces the matron mother to give the term, and then investigations begin to understand it's two words. One is a common word that's used just to refer to it, so you don't have to like say the actual celestial term. And the other is celestial. And Mel and Setch teleport above the city to Mel's apartment, find some solitude to investigate further, figure out more about the celestial in particular. And then this is when they get full understanding. That's kind of was dragged on there a little bit in the game, but foreshadowed, I should say, of like the tale of the Tarask waking up and smashing part of the Temple of Massinifex. Alucard. Then the group kind of separates their own ways, and Alucard takes a young woman he found in the depths of, kind of in prison there, to his workshop, the clock
Are you
tower. What?
Are you judging me?
I'm just
You're being heavily
narrating.
judged.
No, it's just like it's no, it's just a joke. But it's just like you just kind of slowly said, yeah, he kind of took a girl that he just found.
Yeah, okay, I was reading. You do you. And there's, after a trance, with getting some time to rest, they discuss a little bit. She doesn't know much about the situation, really. And Letitia goes back to work, earning some honest pay, to kind of clear her mind from the battle and depths of the city below. Garuld, Farum, and Thelis return to the 11th house at the same time, and Orcafor, to meet Orcafor the gnome, Binder Lord, share kind of the complications that have arose because of the Soul Cage and the Word of Power and the Tarask's tail flapping about. Orcafor again promises to research more about Garuld and his weird box that he has. However, Orcafor wants the trio there to gain the soul of the lady, if at all possible, to gain the word of power. Like, this is not how the situation, as the 11th house wanted it to turn out. Thelis sends an air elemental to find the high elf Alucard, to make this moot. Meanwhile, Setch and Mill come to the conclusion that the word of power is technically still bound to the matron mother, because she technically is still on the material plane, body and soul, technically. And thus, I forgot Garuld brought her head, but yeah, to Orcafor. And thus, they also want to find Alucard to release the word of power with a proper ritual. And that's kind of where we left off. Yeah, you have a matron mother head. There's some spider poison. You guys,
Don't forget that Setch and Mel are also gunning for Alucard.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah, everyone's coming from me. It's fine. Me and him talked about it. It's
Yeah.
I kind of
Letitia
put
is the
myself
only
in-
one in the immediate not going to be, but Letitia, you're going to be because the 10th house is eventually going to find out about this and be like, "What the fuck?"
Why are you working right now? Go find the fucking elf.
No, there's different things. But because we have 3 people gone today, it makes the most sense to kind of return to the other part of the story, kind of reintroduce, I should say, the other part of the story with some new characters. And the way I imagine this kind of playing out, which is kind of hard to do in a role play setting, but like imagery wise, is how do I word this? You guys have had, what did I say, 6 days since Eros and Strike, I should say, have had 6 days since the fight with the dwarves. And in that 6 days, you have traveled through the Mustellan forests here, kind of led by a couple of them because you helped them with the dwarves, to this township of the Mustellan that they have these couple forges that everyone kind of gathers around, and there's a couple like loose hovels and tents, but there doesn't really feel like a traditional town to you, but they call it a town. Nonetheless. And there's a dozen or so Mustellan weaselkin that like man this forge. And it's like the best place in the local area to like get information. There's not like a tavern or anything that doesn't really exist in Animesus culture in the same capacity. So um your this was like your best bet in the local area to like kind of gather information. And you've had multiple days to gather information and meet people and get in weird situations and help out the township and help out other people you've met. And those opportunities in those 6 days are like the opportunities of like you all meeting these new characters. And then it's like the end of that 6 day period. So we're going to kind of like rewind and retort and retell kind of what happened in those 6 days. And it's at the end of that 6 day period when you guys have finally had a moment where you're sitting together as a group, quote unquote, for the people that are here. For the first like real moment of quiet and everything that's kind of gone on around in this township and whatnot in those couple days, is you guys kind of gotten lost in these different adventures. Some of them having to do with the T-Rexes you guys were involved with way back when. I'll get to that. But
Oh yeah, we
nonetheless,
turned some drow into dino feed.
yeah, nonetheless, it's like the end of that 6 day at a campfire. That's why you're at this map here, where Eros and Strike and the kids and Birdman are finally getting a chance to tell the story of what the fuck Cash is, to let you all know of what their plan is to go to the mechs and then see, okay, after we've done these small little adventures over this last week, we've kind of, realized we have similar skills that maybe can help each other. You guys are obviously curious about this odd artifact and things. Like, do you agree to come with us and kind of get that adventure narratively at least rolling is kind of the goal here. So it's going to be a lot of like, hey, what did you do the last 6 days? And is there anything are you want to work towards in your downtime? Kind of thing. As well as any like narrative scenes to establish your characters of what they did in like an adventure sense. That they're like maybe retelling around the campfire here, like enjoying that, like maybe one of the the kids probably weren't involved. So the kids are like, "Oh, how did you meet Eros, or how did you meet Strike?" And they're asking you this new character this question. So was kind of the vibe I wanted to create, like a very storytelling kind of vibe. And if there's a point where it makes sense in the story where we needed a check makes sense, I'll ask for a check, but it may not be that point. It may just be like narrative, and you can go in depth as much as you feel comfortable with. And then after we kind of narrate through that 6-day period, then it's like you guys have learned in that time to kind of move things in a similar direction, that the Mustelli believe the best place for you guys to go to really learn where the fuck another artifact like Cash could even be, because no one has really seen this before, and you have a connection to the Testadine. They know of a dog folk bard, a Cynus, that lives in the city of the dogs, that has traveled there, presumably, that tells stories about the Testadine. And for Lust, who was the only player that was in the previous Animaesus campaign, Testadine were very common in that time period, 300 years ago. Now, after everything that's happened, they're very reclusive, and they've hidden away from a lot of the other cultures because their culture was literally nearly decimated by the Tarrasque attack. Like the final battle of the Tarrasque happened right above their main city and destroyed 90% of it. And killed most of the similar percentage of their people. So they've kind of pulled away from that and like gone to a site to the south somewhere. So there is that much information, and that doesn't mean you could totally avoid the Cynus. That's just something that is part of the narrative, I'm gonna say. And you guys could just beeline to the south and make your way there, in some way, shape, or form. So, to begin our little kind of story here, why don't we have our current players that have established characters kind of introduce their characters of what they would be and who they are, so we can kind of get a vibe for the group a little bit more. And then we'll go to one of the new players and start to start to kind of narrate, collaborate together. How did we meet together? What did we do? How did we, in the last 6 days, what did we do in this forested area, in this weird situation that we're in, to kind of come to be? And a couple of you, we've kind of loosely discussed ideas, but I think discussing more as a group will also help create some cohesiveness with this group. And
oh my god, I just got the coolest spell.
Who would like to go fast?
Ladies first, I'd say. Arrows.
What was that sound? So did someone's soul just get sucked out of their fucking body? All just...
That's normal.
Why do you have to make fun of the way I breathe?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought it was someone making a joke. I'm sorry.
All right, then after Eros introduces their character, I'll introduce the 2 NPCs connected.
Don't sniff my hand.
Well, the 3 NPCs connected to her.
Yeah. So, in the image of what we have here, all huddled around the campfire, the night sky is there, shining stars, moonlight, all sorts of things, basking in the warm glow of the fire, is a very cute, very attractive, very sexy woman. Her name is Eros. And she is the most perverted, asexual person you could ever meet. Seriously. Half the shit that comes out of her mouth is probably an innuendo. If not, directly a sexual statement. She has... Let me just pull up the her bio. very long black hair that, when isn't tied up, it falls all the way down to her waist. A light caramel skin, not exactly tanned, but also kind of sort of. Probably has gotten maybe a tad bit darker since they're out in sunlight more than smog. Blue eyes that shine like the night sky. She is in her mid 20s, 26. She is on the shorter side, but pretty average for a female human of 5'4". She pretty much doesn't weigh much at all, barely passing 100 pounds. And her clothes, she has a very, very, very high passion for fashion. Very high passion for fashion. She doesn't have too many clothes on her at this time since they had to kind of leave in a hurry, and she doesn't have enough clothing. Listen. Shit happened very fast. She didn't have time to pack, okay? So currently, she is sporting her black, very interesting skin tight, like full body black leather outfit that shows off.
It is dragon scales. It's very obvious dragon scales.
Parts of it are lined with dragon scales. Yes.
Yeah.
And
the other part is like it's like spider silk, I remember.
Spider silk, yes. So it shows off a lot of cleavage and a lot of her the sides of her hips. And she also sports a jacket that is complementary to it, but no, you wouldn't be able to tell because she has prestidigitation, so it looks extremely clean despite being in a forest. She looks like she has been pampered, essentially.
And the children fawn over her. I'll introduce the children later, but they treat her like an auntie mother. It's very obvious. The dynamic there. But Eros has a what's the word? Apprentice. I had to find the word. Who is another bard who is learning the ways of the eloquence dance and was involved in a lot of the drama and turmoil of the city. The matron mother whom you slew had this woman loosely imprisoned for a time and was trying to use her to awaken Cash, who is the artifact that the Drow had in their possession before Eros was successful in performing the ritual to bond to this mechanoid and control it. Without Eros inside of it, it is relatively inert, but you always get the sense that it is watching you. Roxana, in the point, only other point is she does look like someone who's been through some recent mental trauma. Like, she's very quiet recently. There's a lot that kind of went down during those kind of interactions, and she, in a lover situation more than anything, is in love with Eros, but Eros is relatively ambivalent to her, considering those things. Additionally, in their escape and manipulation of the matron mother and the Drow house, they befriended a Drow warrior of the house, an elite warrior. You fought at least a dozen of these different archetypes, but pretty powerful poison crafter and warrior. Her name is Nouvelle Shallowbutter, who helped them kind of escape and process these situations they're in. And those are the NPCs that are directly connected to Eros's character that are still with us. Strike. Who is Strike?
Strike. Very fitting. After the introduction of the beauty comes the introduction of the beast. That would be Ragnar Strike Eisenkraut. He's a badger folk. I want to say honey badger solely because of his 18 unarmored defense. He's pretty tough in battle. Dishes out about as much as he can take, if not even more. And despite his often very angry looks, let's call it resting bitch face, he has more gentle tendencies than you might think. For example, all the kids you see around him, those are his kids. He's adopted them during his life in the city, took them out of rather miserable situations, and is kind of acting like a protector of the whole group. Whenever he sees this trouble brewing, he's the first to jump into action. And yeah, that's about all there is to say about Strike right now.
He's also mutated as fuck.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a normal badger in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, he kind of has a god inside of him, but that comes later.
He has a weird like spike tail. I'll leave it at that. The children. The oldest of the group is Rogar, who is about 16 years old. A fighter archetype, the protector older brother, but very reckless when he goes about things and he wants to prove himself. Second in
I taught that
age,
boy.
you did. Second in age, I believe is I can't remember.
It's in the sheets.
I have to look up again. Yeah, I was right. Leandra. Leandra is a Pumthera, which is puma, panther, leopard, kin. They're not tabaxi. Tabaxi are cheetah, very clearly in my brain, and they are not from this continent. But nonetheless, she is a young woman and wants to show she's a young woman, and she's a rogue archetype. She was had already been through a half dozen thief jobs in the city before things kind of went down. She's pretty practiced with that. And she likes to look pretty, so she has like different things that are there related to that. Next is Donovan, a Canis or Coyotekin. He follows in Strike's footsteps. He's
Monclaw, baby.
Yeah, he's a barbarian, very reckless, very abrasive, but has a sincerity about him that shows he's still innocent and hasn't fully grown up yet. The youngest of the group, but probably the most mature of all of them. Well, she's about the same age of Leandra and Donovan. They're all about 11 or 12. But she's looks the youngest, also maybe because she's just the smallest too. We have Althea, she's a drow. And a druid, trained by a druid that lived underneath the city, this weird foxkin, named Gorgamunga. She is a pretty decently powerful. She recently learned Call Lightning. So, but she is a druid of the Underdark, Circle of the Underdark druid. Very in tune with all that, and all of the children protect her. Like they, and the new players, I'll let you guys kind of investigate why they're so protective of her. The other players, I think, kind of already know why. But they're very protective of Althea, like all the children are. And we have Birdman, but that is Brandon's character, and Brandon's not here, but we'll say he's in the back being broody. But his name's Birdman. He used to be a Kenku, now he's an elf. That's the gist of what your characters would know by this point. Other than that, and he still talks like a Kenku. Like
he used to be hot, now he's hotter.
Sure.
Oh no, he's hot.
Yeah.
So those are kind of like the established group the new players are kind of like gonna have here. So who would like to, of Corsair or Hydra, who would like to kind of introduce your character and kind of explain, hey, I'll start to role play out, explain out maybe. How did
Hey,
you guys come together
hey,
with this
Corsair.
group? Or vice versa. Like this is kind of a session 0. Like this is kind of like, talk things out, yeah.
Hey, Corsair, are you there?
I'm here, yeah.
Hey, one thing. Not it.
Damn, got you, got him.
Got
Hey.
it.
Yeah, Rex.
Counterpoint.
Counterspell.
God damn it.
Who is the soundboard?
Someone.
But
Okay, fine. His counterpoint went through. The objection worked. So yeah, one person you see is you kind of met him when you rescued him a little bit ago. When you guys were just going around, he was just very helpless, ragged, not looking the greatest, and you guys kind of found him, picked him up, and kind of like, oh, he's helpless. We can't leave him here. It's kind of like kind of when you like pick up a lost dog. It's like the dog's following you home, and it's like, well, it's following us home. We got to keep it now. So that's how I kind of got to the party.
what's
Kinda like-
what's the race?
Oh, it is a human.
Can you do tricks?
Can he do?
A lot of them. As you can see, he. Oh, there goes Francis.
Yeah, that's okay. He's just pops in sometimes.
Like,
And he's
there he
back.
goes, he's back.
Okay.
Returns.
That's the token.
Oh yeah. So yeah, as you can see, he's wearing a suit that's very, very ugly, green, red, and gold, with a bunch of different magical components that he keeps. Any person who is I guess adept with magic would be able to tell that he is a conjuration wizard. So most of his stuff concerns components that he uses to conjure his magic, but he has a lot of trick. He is very timid, very I guess what is it called when it's like not introverted, but just like wallflower, like background character, He's very
You'll
what is
fit
it
right
called?
in. We're
It's
all
called
background characters.
no, yeah, it's called it's something with an R. Whereas
I don't know.
like
My brain isn't
yeah,
connecting
me
it.
either. Yeah, but yeah, he's kind of the nerd archaeologist.
Rotisserie chicken.
Lo-
Oh wait, that's not it.
He's
Rotisserie
reserved.
chicken.
He's
Raffinerie.
reserved. No,
Reserved.
he's
Okay.
very reserved. Uh, most of his fighting consists of him summoning something and then hiding behind a tree
Okay.
and letting them know.
And I imagine there is a strong connection with this weird artifact that's, as old as
Oh yeah, I
goodness.
want to figure this thing out. This thing is awesome, and possibly even create one myself. But I'm not an artist.
So
But
probably while we were like walking through the tiny little town of the Mustelli, we just see this fucking bum of a human, and we were just like, "Hey, Strike, look! It's another human, and he looks
So it's doing here.
poor."
he looks perfect. It's like when you see a cat in the window, or when you're at the pet store and you see like the perfect, and you're like, Daddy, I want that one. It's That's me. Just
The humans following us. What do we do?
I
don't know.
100% think like I like the idea where there's like an animal shop of the Mustelli, and they have a cow, they have an eagle, and then they have this human in this weird clothes that they
makes
didn't know what
sense.
to do
Yeah.
with, that is just here, that's been like I don't know. And they're like, we want to get rid of him, but
Yeah, it makes sense.
we want
Because
to.
in a society that's filled with animals, it's the inverted. Instead of humans with animals as pets, it's animals with humans as pets.
Yes,
And I was just
yes,
kind of
yes.
like, animal control kind of just picked me up, and I was like, oh, free food, you know? And now I'm just very like raggedy, just kind of a little bit like disheveled,
No,
dirty, just
he's ridden the wave of ridiculousness. I love it.
yes,
And then they're like, what the fuck is this? There's no meat on that one.
Hmm. I don't
bare
know.
bones, bare bones.
I don't know why he's following us.
And I think there's also the idea of like when they would sell Alexander, I think it's part of the idea is like he's dangerous. They know that. Like they know the kind of, they've seen some of the magic you can do, and they're scared of it. And so
No,
it's like
yeah, I can summon a
they
fortune.
don't want that attention to bring other things, so I think there's part of that as well.
Just get rid of him, please. Take him off his. Take him
Okay.
off our hands.
Alexander, get 2 inspiration points for
Thank you.
that's
And yeah,
hilarious.
that's basically him. He's pretty much support. He has other people fight his battles because he's very reserved and very timid. But anyone with a high enough insight can know everything. Not everything's there with him. He's not fully there.
Okay.
I
Hey,
mean,
Weasel.
perfect. Strike loves fighting battles for others. He likes fighting.
Little weasel shop person. Why is there a giant human person here?
Since when do we have humans in cages?
Well, he was given to us by one of the Melon out there. They found him in the forest, looking around a strange rock that was left by our ancestors. He was more concerned about the symbols than anything else. They thought it was cute. They asked him to look at other symbols, and then they realized he's actually really useful. So
Wait.
we've been trading him around for a couple months, using his skills and understanding. But he's a little off his rocker, I will say.
Melon thinking something is cute. Are you sure they were Melon?
Well,
I mean, I have to agree with this sentiment. Humans are not that cute. They're not
Well-
furry. They're not cuddly.
they thought it was cute that he was interested in something that was not a human thing. So, common is not my first language. Maybe cute was not the best word.
Yeah,
Maybe
that would make more sense, yes.
odd, quaint, amusing.
Interesting.
Human person, do you want to be in that cage?
I don't mind it, but I do need to get back to work. I've had my fun.
taking
Define
it.
this work. What is this work you speak of? Shopkeep, I think you have a broken product. He doesn't know how to respond to stimuli.
I'm sorry.
Look. We're just taking him before you put him down. Give it to us.
Put me down.
Well, hey, how about you talk to the in exchange for the township? You Beastman, uh, you and others, maybe you could help the township with something as payment for this exchange. Yes.
Does that include turning insides on the outside?
Does it involve invading an underground sex dungeon and convincing everyone that orgies don't have to involve the non-consensual?
I was under the impression most orgies are consensual. What are you talking about?
Not all of them. There are
But most!
evil ones, dark ones, brooding, mysterious.
Hey, keep it down.
Is it some sort
Unknown.
of weird ritual you're talking
Okay,
about?
well, go talk to the town guard. Here, he unlocks the cage. It's just like, okay, I'm done.
Okay,
can
human,
go.
come with us.
I
You're
can't-
apparently
I
our
kinda-
slave now.
I kind of like huddle,
We
like
do
hunch
not
down.
take slaves, we take followers.
I kind of
What's
hunch
the
down and like
difference?
shuffle out. Just shuffle my feet out.
Look, I'm not giving him a bath, if that's what you're thinking.
Fine, I'll do it.
From the person who has prestidigitation. Okay.
You don't have to take him, give him a bath. Just do what you do with me. Just snap your fingers and make it clean.
But that sounds boring. I don't know. I don't want to catch any diseases. He might be riddled with them.
What the fuck? I'm not. What fucking put me down? What if he has diseases? I'm not a fucking wild animal. What the fuck?
You are in this world.
When a human doesn't have a home, this is what happens.
Basically, I'm just a fucking. I'm the party's pet now.
No. Okay.
If you want to be.
You hear a laugh from Althea and Leandra at the fire pit, transporting back to like the 6th day as you remind them about how you rescued Alexander from the cage,
From Park.
and
He's a rescue.
and Althea says, "Don't worry, I'm working on a greater restoration spell. So if you do have any diseases, Alexander, I can cure you."
I don't have any diseases. I just look disheveled because I've been here a long time. Thank you.
Oh, yes, the wilds can be quite difficult, but you can get used to them. And she like pulls a little hood over her face. Even though the sun's going down, there's still a little bit of sunlight, and being drow, not her favorite thing. Get another inspiration point, you three, for that very hilarious imagery. I enjoyed that. And Corsair, are you ready to introduce your character?
As ready as I'll ever be.
I love it. All right. So, take it away. You can handle that as you see fit. And then we'll drop a token down and get that set up.
Yes. So my character is Dolly Cousteau. They are female human with long black hair. Wearing these well, not a well, I guess like she's wearing this robe pretty much that is just covered in swirling eyes. She's got like a bit of like a suit sort of thing on as well under that, and her hair is also adorned with these same yellow swirling eyes.
I can see
And
Seth make her big.
One sec, I was setting up the token. But yes.
yes, her weapon, which isn't fully seen in the token, because it's basically it's kind of like a mall, except in where the head of the mall would be, there's instead a birdcage with a glowing flame in it.
What's with all the fucking lampposts?
I know. I didn't picture that. I didn't see that imagery till now. One's a
League of
lamppost,
Legends
one's a
taught me
birdcage.
one thing: don't underestimate someone with a lamppost.
Okay, so obvious arcane energy kind of emanates off of Dolly, in almost uncontrollable ways. It seems. How does the group meet Dolly? Do you have any ideas about this, Corsair?
They probably simply run into each other along a path or something.
No, that's right.
and she is told to follow them by her patron,
Yep.
or
Okay.
one reason.
Eros, there's another human following us. What's going on here?
I don't know.
One sec. To give some more kind of immediacy to that, I think it may have to do with the powers that be, including your patron in the area, that want the terrorizing T-Rexes and other creatures in the area to be dealt with in some ways. And also just, I think, kind of like leading you to that bigger picture that you don't quite see in front of you at the same time. Like this is something that fate. I like that idea. I like the I like the happenstance. Happenstance is good.
Don't yell at me.
So following, as well as they just have this giant fucking mech that's over 20 feet tall ish, 30 feet tall. You know, like it's something that no one has ever seen before. So there is, I think, some connections to that. So strike, carried away.
Huh?
You were role playing and I interrupted.
Okay, Eros, another human. Where do we keep coming from? We're out in the wilderness. They shouldn't be here.
Not to mention, it took years for me just to get to the Animaesus land. More humans than I thought. She does have
Few-
I'm a
one
bit of a
there.
Any
traveler.
humans on your travels, or is that
That's the wrong
normal?
voice.
I mean, unless her entire hometown was also burned to the ground, I don't know.
Your hometown was burned to the ground?
Yes, I told
That's
you my
fucked up.
hometown was burned to the ground.
You never told me that.
Yes, I
Wait,
did.
you're not from this plane?
You really didn't.
Okay, I told Athera. But I told someone. See? There. Works. Counts. Fuck you.
But I'm not one to ask, you know that. So unless you tell me, I won't know.
Anyway, I don't know what's going on with this suit. But I want it.
You can't just take people's suits.
What
We
if I
talked about
can?
this.
Glad you
can
like it,
ask.
buddy.
You can ask, but you can't just take it. We've been over this.
Look, I've been wearing the same outfit for the past week. I need something new on my skin.
Same? Do you see me complaining? Okay, to be fair, I don't wear clothes, but
How
same
tall
difference.
is Doll? I don't think Dolly is even remotely built the same, Eros. So, I love the imagery though.
Person who is following us that is also human. The fuck?
Yeah, the fuck.
Oh no, now there's two of them.
The fuck?
You're one of them.
There is, with the shadows of the little like brick house kind of setup that you're nearby as you're walking through this little township, there is like a shadow of like a beak that almost like follows Dolly in a way. You guys see like this weird beaked creature. Kind of like, it's not walking in any way, shape, or form, but it's like in the shadows.
We exchanged one word for another.
Sort of.
I'm a bit of a traveler around these parts, you see. Not really that hard to understand.
Yes, but still the question remains, the fuck?
Kind of right. The fuck. What she said. Yeah.
Look, we just took in this stray human that we're 10% sure has got all his immunization shots. So
You don't have rabies, do you?
No. I'm no
Alexander,
Stratton like
Alexander,
that walking
and
rainbow over there.
Alexander Dolly get an inspiration.
well, that's a step in the right direction. Now the only question is, who is your tailor?
That's a story for another time, buddy.
The fuck?
You. We're talking about a tailor, not a master of arcane arts.
Look, you can't just start following us and not answer the most pertinent questions as how your ass looks so good in those fucking jeans. Damn it!
To admit it, that looked pretty damn good. The clothes, not the ass.
They're apple bottom. Glad you like them.
Imagery goes back to the campfire here with Donovan interrupting the story and be like, Eros, whispering in your ear, what does apple bottom mean? I don't understand.
Listen. When you see it, you know. It just works.
Donovan doesn't wait for you to say it works. He's already gotten up and he's like over here, like looking behind at Dolly, trying to understand apple bottom, and he doesn't get it.
That's my boy.
Can I help you, buddy?
He gets nervous. It's like, no. He sits back down. I'll figure it out. He mutters under his breath. Alexander and Eros here clearly.
Yes.
So there's like this pause in the conversation, and you can't help but hear how the wind kind of gropes through Cash and the different spaces that make up this giant biomechanical stone bipedal tortoise thing. And there you can't help but like that whistling of the wind turns into him laughing, like your echoes kind of grab onto that. And in that pause, there's the obvious, like, everyone kind of looks over there at Cash. It's an odd sound that you guys are still getting used to after these number of days, that it's not something that sounds like any creature on this planet. And Nouvelle comes from leaning against the tree and comes closer to the fire and asks the question. Well, we've spent a number of days. We've gathered rest. I think a few more resources might be needed, but what do we say is the plan with our new dancers? Looking over at Alexander, Dolly, and then back at Eros and Roxana, and everyone just can't think of a better word, obviously, off the top of her head.
I'm kind of just like attached to Wally, just like kind of like very just noticing the machinery and just like kind of just very inspecting it. Touchy.
What, like Cash?
Cash, my bad, not Wally.
Wally.
Yeah. I was like, Wally. I was like, what? No, nonetheless, I got what you meant
Big
eventually.
Wally.
But yeah, it's like biomechanical. You're
Oh,
not
yeah,
sure
I'm
how it
feeling
makes
it up.
sense.
I'm feeling it out.
Okay. The
In the
question.
meantime, I'm going over and pick up the Birdman and drag him to the fire.
No, Steven.
No,
You come over here, Brian. You have no choice.
Scoots him, puts him in
I
between
have
there.
no choice. You're being rescued. Stop. Resistance is futile.
Hey, don't go in Cash's hole, you'll die. Yeah, don't do that. Only I can insert myself in Cash.
Technically, the hole is closed right now, so.
What do I just cast? Blindness and deafness on arrows.
We'll see what happens.
Do you want it tongue lashing?
Uh,
And not in the fun way?
Nouvelle is like, they are obviously interested and have skills that perhaps unlock more of these ancient artifacts, if that's what we're looking for. But do we go to the dog folk, or do we continue south and attempt to find it ourselves? I know little about tracking and survival through the wilderness.
If
Do
we
we
were to go
know-
ourselves, we run the risk of getting even more lost than we already are. So we should head to the dog folk first.
Plus, it sounds like fun. They sound fun to pet. I want to pet one.
Don't just pet people. We've been over this too.
Well,
Wait a minute, we're lost?
Do you know what this place looks like, or have a picture of it?
What place?
The place we're trying to get to.
Are you asking me as the DM, or are you asking
I'm asking her.
Nouvelle?
she-
No.
She doesn't know what this place. Then what are we looking for?
Yeah, we have no idea where the fuck we're going.
I'm just wondering what we're looking for.
Him, pointing at Cash. We're looking for him.
Another him.
Yes.
Yeah, more of him. We kind of know there are more than one.
Where did you find the first one?
City?
The city
In
assault.
the city. Okay.
You know,
Perhaps-
that city that is on fire right now, where we don't want to be right now.
I wonder if it's
I
still
guess
on
if
fire.
one was in the city, I guess it would make sense if another one was in a different city. Maybe the dog city. But also dogs.
Nope, there's not one in the dog city. The map didn't show that.
Oh, you have a map?
No, not a map. More like a mystical reference point.
It's sort of a vision, did you
Explain.
said?
Kinda, sort of. All I know is Cash showed me the closest one. Was it the close one? Or was it a bit far? I don't know. Just something about turtles. And I like the
Testudines.
sound of it.
No. We could save a lot more time if you can figure out what Cash showed you. And if you can come up with an image in your head and you can give that image to me, I can get us over there.
Look, man. And I cast not the tech thoughts. Her eyes flash a bright purple while looking at you. And where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I just want to make sure I understand what the. Oh, right. I remember now. Oh, wow. Damn. For the next 8 hours, you feel that in your head for the next 7 hours, you're telepathically linked. And she says in your head, the only thing I know is this much. And she flashes you her memories of when she was first shown the information that leads her to believe that there is another mech in the Testudine lands, and
Okay.
there's no clear image either.
Okay. But Tarask, what could you explain to me what Eros saw, and now what I see with her setting up that telepathic link? With them setting up that telepathic link.
No, she's a her.
Oh, okay.
All you, I don't remember what I explained. This was a long time ago.
Yeah.
There is certain imagery that indicates travel across many miles of grass and woodlands, which is kind of what you're in right now. And then there's a dive underneath the earth, clear tunnels, and then there's imagery of statues and wall structures that have obviously like plates carved out of them of the Testudine. It's not a lot of specific stuff. It's kind of just general, like, hey, there is something here, but the only other indication is Eros feels when they try to remember this again that Cash could, with assistance, remember at least the name of the other one, but not by himself.
So what would you say when it comes to a teleport spell?
Well, there's a
What how
D100 no matter what you do.
is D100 but viewed once, description, seen casually? I think it's what would you consider Eros giving me this image and what Cash gave to Eros? What would you describe that as?
Well, being you as the caster, it's definitely on a view once, I'd say.
Viewed
Probably
once, yeah. Viewed once, definitely.
viewed once, so that would be this. The way that it posted in here is stupid. 1 second.
Yeah, formatting is
No,
off.
yeah. Let me
None.
pull up.
It doesn't. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
So yeah, viewed once. Yes,
Yeah,
I
viewed
think
one.
that makes the most sense.
So viewed once, 1 to 43 mishap, 44 to 53 similar area, 54 to 73 off target, and 74 to 100 on target. So if we could get this information from Cash
Well,
a
it's
little
kind of
bit
more of a
more.
description, but they have the same
This-
percentage. But yeah.
Yes, if we can get more information from Cash, we might be able to skip this. Or maybe we could try and go to the dogs and get some more information, but it might be easier just to maybe tinker with Cash a bit to see if we can't get more out of him. And if we can, then I could probably bring all of us close to the location.
I would
and then we
like
can start from there.
those people wanting to pursue this venture to of a possible teleport to roll a Arcana or History check.
Oh, I'm so good at both those.
I'll do Arcana.
I'm shit at both.
25.
I mean, I'll do it anyway, but
Same.
Hey.
shit.
Never mind.
Ha, get
Oh,
fucked.
there it is.
You took my net 20, you bitch!
Basically.
Get good.
Get good.
Get
Fuck
good.
you!
Okay, well, Lust being okay, okay,
Oh,
Get
okay.
good.
yeah.
The bird is the word, baby.
Well,
Well, you three reason out this idea about the magic of cash based upon what Lust has done and sort of described. This will predominantly be based around Eros being the main conduit for Cash, because Cash technically doesn't have a brain. He's like the scarecrow from Wizard Boss. Like he has no mental statistics. So like doing something mental like this would require kind of yes, Eros to be that conduit. Like and being as indirect as it is, this is a very difficult check. Like this is a very difficult thing to do, and this will take you probably a couple days to figure out.
would a teleportation be would the teleportation roll be technically a skill check or no?
Teleportation roll is not a skill check. No.
Damn it.
I can
Use
I know
inspiration.
nothing. I'm
Well, I
going
could
back
use-
to fire and roast
I-
more dino meat.
Well, I could use inspiration to
You could use
Reroll,
inspiration
but-
to re-roll, yes, technically.
Have
But I roll it,
multi-
you don't. But
Oh, well, I have 4 inspiration points to reroll, so that's 4 chances to. All we would need to get is a 54 or higher.
okay,
Maybe.
I-
I mean,
the Arcana knowledge. The second thing that I wanted to say is your Arcana knowledge would let you know that you could get more specifics from someone that has actual visual evidence of being there. Cash has never been to this place. He may know the name of the thing you're looking for. He may generally remember where they are in a distant, like a million years ago perspective. Like this is not going to be a very clear imagery no matter what you give. So I will say it will give you a better chance on the D100. Like I'll modify the D100 depending on how successful you will, but it is still going to be a description viewed once kind of situation. It's just it'll be a D100 plus something, which I'll figure out in a minute because I wasn't expecting this conversation. But which is how D&D works. It's all good.
Okay.
Nonetheless,
24% of the time, it works 100%
there
of the
could
time.
be with a high roll like that, your nat 20s or 20 pluses, there could be people like Animaesus that have been there before that could actually have seen it casually, actually are familiar with the place and give you a better description and give you
those
something
are
better.
the dog people.
Potentially. Like that is what the Mustelli would think. Most of the Mustelli don't in this area don't the Weasel Kin you guys have interacted with in the last 6 days of it in game time they're very open people and they don't leave the forest very often. They're kind of here. Most of them don't have a reason to, and the city itself, jumping back to the main map of the continent area, basically, like the city itself kind of creates this almost demarcation between the lands to where a lot of things to where you are in the north don't usually travel past the city because the city has destroyed and created this like swamp like structure for miles and miles around it. It's like 50 miles or so radius around the city is just disgusting swamplands.
So,
So
so what would you say would be our best? Would it be the dog people, or would it be somewhere else? Because I might not be able to teleport to the place
the dog
exactly.
people are the closest to you.
Well,
Now, with a high
so
check like that, we could, now that we're on the map, if I want to extrapolate from that, I guess, like the dwarves, they're very traveled people. They have a trade route that goes in and around between the north and south of the entire continent. There's a high possibility with them. And the only other immediate option that's within 100 miles of you, which is a couple days walk or whatnot, is going back to the city and trying to use some of the resources there. There's not really another place close to you guys within a couple days ride or walk to ride and
no,
plane cash.
that's what I was saying. Like, if I've been to one of these other places, that might be a better thing. We could go to the dogs, but also if I've ever been to the Dwarf City, or if anyone has, we could just teleport there to the Dwarf City, or to the Dog City, or to whatever city we think might be the best lead on this. All I need is a description.
Well, does anyone speak Dwarvish?
Eros has comprehend languages.
That's not the question I asked.
Oh,
No.
well then.
Actually, let me check. I speak Primordial and Sylvan.
If none of you speak
Nice.
Dwarvish,
I speak Sylvan.
Then-
It's close enough. Dwarves are like animals.
no, they're
Yep.
not. If none of you speak Dwarvish, then none of you have been to the Dwarven City.
I only know Gnomish.
Okay. Gnomish
Yeah,
only
just
make
small, close enough.
gnomes make sense because there are gnomes in the eastern part of the country where Eros originally traveled from. So there's not gnomes in this part of the continent, as
Okay.
commonly seen. Okay, so none of you have real connections to the dwarves. It is slightly farther to the dwarves than to the Cynus because there's only the one bridge that's nearby, so you technically have to go a long way. You could go across the river, but it's a very strong, angry river, as you would be warned about. So it's definitely a possibility. And I will say you can even, maps are drawn by perspective of what is important and what provides resources in some ways. Like the Dwarven Sanctum it's a large city. It's a large place. Like there would be just a high level likelihood as the city of Salt to find information.
So
They're just further away.
Gotcha.
The Cynus city, if you guys who speaks Sylvan?
I speak
I
Sylvan.
do.
I do.
Okay. If you speak Sylvan, there's a likelihood you've been to the Cynus city before.
Okay,
say.
and then
Because that Sylvan is kind of the common tongue of most of the Animaesus. They kind of adopted the Fey language from the centaurs that taught it to them.
okay. Well, if we want to start there instead of walking over there, I can teleport us too.
That
I
would be mostly convenient.
convenient,
Okay.
but also kind of lame. Yeah,
Why
lame.
would it be lame?
Because I like walking.
You can walk there. We'll meet you over there.
That would take days.
Okay.
Even at your fastest travel speed, you can the average humanoid can travel 30 miles a day. With cash, you probably can travel about 40 miles a day. So it's about 2.5 days travel.
Ash has the same move speed I do, so I can easily keep up.
Well, I don't have movement.
Well, I was
speed like
talking
you
about
guys.
arrows. If your guys are traveling as a group, then we're that's like you guys are running, going 30 miles a day. Like the average speed is about 22 to 24 miles a day. Like taking your time, making sure you don't exhaust yourself. But and that's 8 hours of travel a day, which is game mechanics what they allow a humanoid PC to be able to do before they start getting exhausted.
Yeah, that's why I picked up teleportation because I am a human. I do not have the running capabilities, and also I am not athletically inclined.
Nouvelle would bring up the idea of no matter what the case is, whether at the Cynus city or maybe trading, bartering with the Musteli here, we're going to be traveling eventually pretty far. You know, do we have rations? Do we have things? Do we have bedrolls? Do we have mess kits? Do we have the things we need to exist out in the wild, like that will make it as comfortable as
I'm a
possible?
fucking badger. I eat trash.
We're
That
not
is
Yes.
going.
not the question I asked.
We're not going to need that.
Nouvelle raises a large eyebrow, and so does your DM.
Okay. Okay,
You need it.
everyone. It might take me. It's gonna take me a minute to do this, but
Bruh.
he rubs his hands together.
Prepared for everything. I like it.
Yeah,
Huh.
I can teleport. I have magnificent mansion, and I also have this spell. I can make a fortress.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. How the fuck did you get locked in a cage? I'm questioning.
Because they let.
You have
That's the
a
thing.
lot of spells at your
don't-
disposal.
That's the thing.
And you get locked up in a cage.
You don't ask
No.
questions like that.
They do not have
It
the
happens.
capabilities to keep you locked up, even if they
He
wanted
was out
to.
of spell slots that day. He was out
I
of
was
spell
out
They
of
slots.
spell-
You
psychologically
need a
locked
spell
him
to
up.
make something like that? That's funny.
Yeah, so literally what we need, I can most likely
Okay, does
make,
it
like,
account
it is-
for food? I don't see anything about food.
Magnificent Mansion. It contains sufficient food to serve a 9-course banquet for up to 100 people.
Okay, there you go.
Also, we have a Birdman. We never need to worry about food.
Well,
I also have great food and water.
Nouvelle, not understanding magic, will be asked the question. This is the DM voice through Nouvelle.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, what happens when you can't cast magic and get locked in the cage again, and we have no food?
That's a very good
Then
question.
why don't we pick up some just in case and have it?
Oh, I can make food. It's really no effort.
You can make food.
Really?
Yeah.
Nouvelle,
Oh, it's just
Nouvelle
honey
raises
too.
another eyebrow.
This fucking group's just full of surprises, aren't they?
Well, okay. Speaking
And
as DM,
also,
you
my
guys
fortune.
will be going through long bouts of travel. I will be asking the question most days where it makes sense narratively. Right now, you've been loosely fed for a couple days by the Musteli because of what you did with the dwarves and things like that. They're a very barter system. They don't charge you. It's a lot just here's the food, you're a guest, kind of thing. You are kind of overstaying a little bit by this point. You're a little bit of a lingerer. But nonetheless, when we get throughout the travel, I'm gonna ask the question most days. Well, how'd you guys account for food today? And either it'll be a spell or whatever. For today, that's not gonna be a point, but it's something I just wanted. I used
Okay.
Nouvelle to kind of introduce that idea because you guys will literally, if we're going after these mechs and we're gonna go after the idea of what I have for these mechs, you will be traveling long distances across this continent. So
95% of the time, my answer to that question will be this.
Oh, sweet.
That's a 3rd level spell.
And
Still a
also
good
this
spell.
just to go hunting.
Okay, and then yeah, you can, where it makes sense, look for food. There are certain places like the 50-mile radius around the city of Salt where there's just not food. Like you just can't find anything. So like there will be places where like survival just can't happen. Some of the places of the plains, like you guys can't really exist off like grass. I guess you could try, but you know.
Picking
I
up
don't know if you're
berries.
like that's just an example of like a place off the top of my head, and like if you get into some of the crazy deserted mountain ranges and things like that, which you may, you know, things like that might happen.
Yeah, the only thing that can kill us is if you put like some sort of anti-magic field.
Unlikely to see out in the wilderness, but yes, good point.
I'm just imagining like stalker anomalies now, just random magic anti-magic field in the middle of nowhere.
It's like when your cell service goes
I was
out
literally
in
about to say,
random
cell
spots.
services.
It's just like,
Dead
are we in a
zone.
dead zone or something?
It's just an ancient elven thing we forgot about. It's all right. You'll be
Ancient elven dead zones. Just walk in. Oh,
Nah.
well, there goes my magic. I guess. Does
Just
anyone
no
have like
reception.
A
Yeah,
remnant of the elven dwarf wars, you know, cutting the
yeah,
trees,
elven
making sure
dead
the elves
zone.
can't use their magic.
Yeah.
anti-magic ruin. I'm
Ah,
writing it
that might
down.
be in my area.
Hey, let's calm down there.
I like this idea. See, this is why D&D is awesome because it's collaboration and we come up with better ideas.
Look, the more I talk about this ancient dwarven empire, the more I just want to campaign in there.
Let's back up a bit.
Literally talking
Maybe
into
we
existence.
might-
elves that just
we might-
deforest
yeah.
everything.
We might want to pick up some rations in case, just as backup, when we can't use our magic just because of what the DM just said.
There may be points. I'm not going to guarantee there's always going to be points, but I do want to kind of stress that idea. Like at least for this session, I don't perceive that being an issue, but you know, who knows? Who knows? You guys surprise me continuously.
I got mansion, I got teleport, and I got fortress.
All right, you guys are cool. Okay, I have to, you know, this is where you guys are flexing a little bit as level tier 3 characters.
I have great food and water and a bird cage.
I have claws and teeth.
Okay, with that information in mind, let's, I guess, finish the conversation of how are you going to the city of the dog folk?
I feel like we should just teleport.
I mean,
It'll save us
kids?
time, magic.
Kids,
It
what
could
do
save
what do you
time,
think?
It also could cost you time. I'm curious to see how the dice roll.
Kid,
I mean, I just got here. I'm not really sure what I should say. I think I should leave it to you guys.
Are we bringing the kids with
Well,
us?
yeah, of course we're bringing the kids.
Let's go back. Let's go back to the map. Let's go back to the map.
With us.
Oh.
Okay, and Cash counts as one. He is not together. Like he does count as a separate entity. He just doesn't have a brain.
Well, then there's 12 people here, and I can take. How many can I
8?
take with teleport circle?
9 total, including yourself. 9.
Yeah. Yep. 9,
I might have a solution to this.
9 including me.
Yeah.
Does it involve child sacrifice?
No, it involves shoving children into a bird cage. It involves shoving the children into a bird cage. Hear me out.
Well, if you can turn them into an item that you can carry, and they're not technically a creature, yeah, then it won't matter. it takes everything, all the items on you with you. So
Leandra
take
is
them out
like,
of the
fuck
non-creature.
that, I don't want to go inside someone's bag. Looking at Birdman's, like, briefcase.
That is absolutely out of the question. Not going to happen.
If we can get rid
No,
of 3 people,
I can put y'all in this little thing here, and she
Whatever-
just unhooks a birdcage from her waist.
Roxana steps forward. How are we going to fit inside of that?
Magic.
Like this. And then I'm going to use a class ability.
Who are you going to put
Oh.
in there? Choose very carefully.
I can't wait to see this.
Ooh.
Here it is.
Hey.
Yeah,
Phoenix
this is what I thought it was.
Vessel.
Yeah, that's a good ability.
Yup. I
Okay,
forgot about that.
So I guess I'll put the woman who asked that question in there, along with I feel like I should just roll to see who I take with me.
Well, you only need to take 2 people with you.
Yeah, I guess I can just take 2 people with me.
Yeah, just take
I
the
mean-
2 closest to you. You got Rogar and Roxana.
You just
Yeah.
grab them. Hey guys, we're going. What?
So yeah, they get transported into like it's like the size. The room is like the size of a ballroom. The walls are basically birdcage walls with just a black void beyond that. There is a bonfire in the middle, and there's black furniture everywhere.
Cool. And then I just go up and
They're
pick up
probably
the birdcage.
freaking out a little bit, but eventually Roxana calms Rogar down and they have realized what's going on, I think.
Are you
Cool.
still on the outside?
Or are you inside?
No, I have to be in the birdcage for other people to be in the birdcage as well, so I'm also in there.
Cool.
Okay,
And,
so the birdcage is just
yeah.
like flutters down like a feather down to the ground. And those of you, even before you step up to look at it, you could probably see, like, what do they see when they look in the birdcage? Like, do they see them, or is it like some other thing that they see?
Just like glowing lights, pretty much. Like
So-
3, just 3 people in there, so 3 glowing lights.
Okay, I like it. That's cool imagery. Get
Uh,
an inspiration. Get an inspiration point, Corsair.
And
I
I
like the
just
imagery.
pick up the birdcage and how big is this birdcage?
It's tiny.
Cool.
Like,
I just
fit in
It
one
is a
hand?
tiny object.
I just
with
with it to
an-
my belt. And now I
Okay,
got
a
a
tiny
birdcage.
object is about the size of a small house cat, usually. Or smaller,
Cool.
like, depending. So,
Eros, Eros would be taking off an offensive stance right now with her purple lightning zapping off of her and an electric dart hovering in her hand as she eyes the bird cage.
Oh, Strike is pissed.
Aw.
There's a sun in there.
It's just a little magic.
Rogar is inside freaking out. Roxana Dolly is asking, "What? Oh, and then sees you and like, Rogar, we'll be safe. We'll be safe." And he just running around. He can't see out, even though where the fuck he is.
Feel free to relax, buddy. You'll be fine.
Everyone relax your assholes. Everyone
well,
ready?
they're inside the cage. You don't hear them, but okay.
Eros wouldn't know what to do because the person who casted the magic is not outside to respond to to give an answer. So she's just like,
I imagine Dolly, your patron, gives you like a microphone almost to like hear what Eros and the others are saying outside. You can't really see, but like only you can like hear a little bit of an echo.
Yeah, I can hear what's outside a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
you can hear the
Can I
area
come-
around your vessel.
Yeah,
Can I cast message on the birdcage?
doesn't say it blocks magic.
It is I am technically in another plane, so
That's true. So message can't go through to another plane,
But sending can.
but sending can. Indeed.
I mean, it's kind of how we contacted a god or two.
And or two. So Eros is going to cast Sending, but she's going to cast it on Roxana, saying, "Just let me know, and I'll break this fucking thing. You're okay, right? You and Donovan? And let's just not get above a 95. We're good. The message can go
Okay.
through."
We're okay. It's a gorgeous ballroom. I've never seen something like this before. She's obviously very powerful.
Eros, still with her magic flashing off of her hand shaking, will look at the stray Alexander.
Wow. Yeah.
Look, I forgot your name, okay?
No, you're fine.
You're gonna be destroyed. That's just
That's
Mhm.
yeah.
that's gonna be the party nickname now. It's just
Yeah. That's right. That's
she
fine.
she looks at you and says, "Fine. We can do it your
Okay.
way, but if this fucks up in any way, shape, or form, I hope you like the taste of your own dick."
Well,
You can
most
remind
likely
me-
if this messes up, we'll all be dead. So, okay, ready, guys? Alakazam,
Bruh.
Alakazoo, and you see him, just like clap his fingers, clap his fingers. What? Whoa,
Mini clap.
whoa,
Not even you.
whoa,
if you want to
He's
clap your
only
fingers,
human
man,
after all.
it only requires a vocal
Play
component.
for
but-
him.
I clasp my fingers and say Alakazam, and when I cast teleport, I since I've been there before, I picture the front gate to the place. So in front of the kingdom
The dog city?
of Dog City. Yeah,
For
Dog
it
City.
and hope for the
The
best.
sadness to me as a DM when the roll works, I'm just gonna say, I love
Yeah,
when
so
teleport doesn't work, but it does work. And you are teleported. That guy is right there, with a little staff. The little position right there. It's like,
Immediately after arrival, Strike is just throwing up in the corridor.
yeah,
Ah, I fucking hate portals.
and then
strike an inspiration
I
point.
take off the bird cage and place it on the ground.
Yeah, and then after that, I will kick everyone, including myself, out of the cage. Not literally.
And Roger gets an instant bear hug.
And
I was
Rock,
so worried.
Roxana also gets a Eros hug as well.
See, I told y'all it'd be fine.
Do that again and I'll rip your fucking throat out.
It's
Never again
okay.
without warning.
Roxana, it's okay, we're fine, see?
And look, we're all here in one piece.
I-
Actually,
it's-
everyone check to make sure you have all your pieces. Sometimes those get lost.
Yeah, if you
So,
want to take a break in there, just say the word.
it's quite peaceful, Roxana will say. Rogor's like, yeah, it's alright. You guys, other than what the picture shows you here, the buildings and the structures are both built into the stone and into the trees, and they go back further than the image here a lot, I guess I should say. Many different buildings. Obviously, many of them a mixture of dwarven architecture. They obviously had some help from the dwarves from the north. but also some sylvan manipulation of the trees and whatnot to allow for kind of growth and stuff around the architecture itself. You hear music first and foremost. Lots of different upbeat music, laughter. The buildings closest to you are obviously small, either entertainment taverns or inns or bed and breakfasts or things like that. This is kind of a major stopping point before you continue to head north more into the Dwarflands. And an extremely admixed city, but there's definitely lots of smaller dog folk that are of every breed and variety. The Cynus are not born with a rhyme or reason. There may be a litter of a pug, a Dalmatian, and a Great Dane. It's not really particular with how that works with these people. And the Cynus are known to be very gregarious, open, and a lot of fun. Those of you that speak Sylvan, you have enjoyed that have we discussed had the possibility of coming here before. This is one of the most enjoyable Animaesus cities. It makes the city of Salt look like a piece of dog shit. Like it is. It
Like
is.
hell on.
Yeah. And the kids immediately are just in awe by the waterfalls. None of the 4 children have ever seen water flowing like this before growing up for the last 10 to 16 years in the city of Salt. Water is not common at all. Fresh water like this. They are in awe. Complete awe. And I will say Rogar is one of the ones on the edge, just soaking in the mist. Like he's just arms wide, just like never, and immediately looks back and there's like a look of happiness strike on his face. Just like, thank you, Father. Thank you. Like he didn't know he needed this until he saw it.
Yeah, it just makes Strike smile.
And then
Ain't this a quaint place?
Yeah, it's nice. I'm going to go set cash somewhere safe that isn't just out in the open.
there are eyes and voices starting to gather attention to you guys standing on the edge and seeing Cash.
I have a very
draws
important
attention.
question. How many golden retrievers are there?
Golden
I
retriever.
don't know.
Get us a Z37.
Why not? Okay. There are 24 golden retrievers within the city.
Woo!
There you go. Cash, you get into Cash, lock into the cockpit, and start to stomp away. For those of you that haven't seen this before, in the picture of Cash, she had that like belly button area. It like opens up and like it doesn't sound very appetizing. The like squishy noises that happen when Lust Eros climbs in, and then there's a obvious like you hear the final kind of locking position happening once Eros is presumably inside, and Eros would make out some sort of wince of pain or something. Like it's not comfortable to connect to this thing in any way, shape, or form. But it happens, and then slowly stomp away. And like the earthquake, that minor earthquake shuddering that happens, draws more people out on the edge, and there's murmuring from the populace as you guys have drawn quite a bit of attention from just appearing in front of the city like this. What do you do?
Point at the one who casted it.
You point at Alexander. Yes.
Yes.
Buddy, I do believe he's pointing at you.
And his claw is almost as wide as your nose to the back of your head. It's a long claw. It's like good 4 to 6 inches.
Oh yeah, I should probably explain. Some magic shenanigans. We teleported here.
Corsair, Dolly, the more and more time you're around Strike, you can't help but feel a sort of comfort. Like a magical comfort, like your patron recognizes him or something to that effect. Like, and you can tell by Strike the way he's mutated, it's obviously magically influenced, other than what he says.
Yeah, she'll definitely take a mental note of that.
Yeah, Strike's crazy, but not in a dangerous way.
Crazy? I was crazy once. I was locked in a room. A rubber
A rubber
room
with
full of
rats.
rats.
Stuff you crazy.
Rats are
Crazy? I was crazy once.
Ah. Well, Eros wouldn't show back up for like a few minutes. So, I mean, like, what's going on in those few minutes? So, I mean, if nothing happens, you can just say Eros walked back up.
There's just the crowd at the edge of the cliff on the other side of the bridge there from the city. There's just more and more citizens slowly gather. Not a huge throng of people, but a decent number, like upwards of maybe 200 by this point, that are just kind of like, what the F is this? And then seeing Cash walk away, by the time like he's out of view, more people start to disperse, but there's still people curious, like, what the fuck just happened? Like, and then there's probably, you guys are all smart enough, whatever defensive people, militia or whatever that's like part of the city, you probably have a few minutes before they're going to come like to you. Like, there's with the commotion you hear. But that's just narrative point. What do the rest of you guys do in the time that she's gone?
I'm just going for a climb alongside the waterfall, because why not?
The first thing you do. Hey guys, we're in a new city. I'm just gonna start climbing walls. Yeah, that's what
It
I'm gonna
feels
do.
nice. It feels nice. As God already said, there's the mist that's spraying on me. It's nice. I
It's
like
gorgeous. It's gorgeous, and it's probably helping to clean your very nasty fur.
it. Yeah.
Narrate, talk amongst yourself for a few minutes. I gotta pee real quick, but decide what you want to do. Like, you're here to find information or a guide, or a map, or something to find your way better to the tortoise people. So, figure out how you want to approach this. This city it's not as big. It's about an eighth the size of the city of Salt, but it still is a city. There's a couple thousand people that live here, so it will have a library, it will have taverns, it will have priest places. So, if there's anything you want to buy or whatnot, this could be an opportunity to do that too.
Hydra, you are muted. Just if you are there and are trying to talk, you are muted. But if you're not there, well, this has been a vain effort. I'll say that when the rumbling, it probably takes 2, maybe 3 minutes to find a good, not to say hidden location, but a out of view location for Cash, to hide Cash, quote unquote. And then when everyone would probably be able to tell when the rumbling stops, it takes Eros about an additional 2 minutes to get back. So she would have been gone for like 8 minutes or so. And if you chuckle fucks are still standing on the edge by the time she does get back, she would say, "The fuck are you guys still doing here? Why aren't you going into the city?"
This bit's nice! From all the way up there.
See, he's got
I'm
the
not
right
the one
idea.
who's been here before, and also he's just on the wall.
Yeah, he does that. Kids, let's go. We'll find a tavern that you guys can rest at. Maybe there's even a pool that you could play in or something.
Oh, they are the pitbull guards.
Of course. Or what if they're bulldog guards?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
right. I'm not wearing my glasses. Okay, I'm climbing down from the wall and try to act as dumb as possible.
Okay, so you guys waiting that time, just taking it all in. Less people would be there by the time Eros gets back, but there would, about halfway through Eros getting back, a gathering of these people are here, and they're staying on the other side of the bridge. And then I imagine you guys getting back together, and you'd have to like kind of hike around the couple 100 feet to do so, and you would be met on their side of the bridge with obviously some of the town guard here, led by a
Shiba Inu.
they are all in plate and or splint armor, and fully armed with long swords, crossbows. And that one guy has this giant spear that on one end has a banner of the city that's basically just like a silhouetted version of a bunch of like dog faces. Like it's an amalgamation of faces that look like dogs, like of different breeds, that are like it's a white with like black drawn lines and on his thing, and they stand there diligently waiting for you all as you come across, and you get to like a distance that makes logical sense to stop, so you don't have to yell too much, but still aren't close enough to insinuate, aggressiveness. And these are all small creatures. They're all about 3.5 to 3 foot 10 inches or so, under 4 feet, most of them.
Then I should probably get on all fours and not risk their instincts kicking in.
And
by
they're
intimidation.
they're bipedal. Although most Animaesus can switch between bipedalism and quadrupedalism. So
Yeah, I'm making myself smaller just in case. I don't want to be friendly.
yeah, so they're standing on their hind legs, and he barks out like a bark, and to make sure you get your attention, and then he yells in wrong sheet. He yells in a language you don't understand. Something. None of you speak this language.
God damn
You
it.
sure? Which one?
And Arrow snaps her fingers to cast comprehend languages on herself. You mind repeating that?
Damn, I should have got. Actually, no, it's only red languages.
And the question is,
The
do
rest of you don't
common?
understand what this guy continues to say, rather gruffly, but it like translates in mid-sentence to Eros. You don't belong here. It's obvious. What is that thing you hid in the bushes over there? And furthermore, it's obvious you don't understand a word I'm saying. God damn it, we should have asked for the priest to come with us.
I understand what you're saying now. What I hid in the bushes is not a fire hydrant. Don't piss on it.
What's a fire hydrant? And do they understand you?
Those two speak in moon runes.
I'm speaking in Sylvan right now, but
You're speaking in Sylvan. And in whatever language he's speaking, and he's like, God damn it, I knew I should have taken the 3rd year of that class. He speaks the old tongue. Of course they speak,
look, I can understand.
He switches to a different language to ask the other 4. Do any of you speak
Stop,
language?
What language?
I can understand everything that you're saying. Do you not understand me now?
He looks at you confused.
God damn it! And she snaps her fingers again, her eyes flashing, and she establishes a telepathic bond with the guy.
Yeah,
I would like a persuasion check versus an
From me?
active
From me?
Eric,
Yes, I would like a persuasion check.
Okay.
I cast this shit.
I think part of me wants to just see what the number is again to remind myself, but I'm also gonna give this person a chance.
I
to
can't roll lower than a 25. So
but yeah, Eric, you're thinking of the spell tongues.
I know the other spells.
Okay, you're just establishing it with the Shiba.
Yeah, just a Shiba.
Okay.
And she
All right,
says in his
he
head,
fails obviously. He's just like it turns into one of those things of I recently rewatched Lord of the Rings. I do most summers like the extended editions, and when Gimli goes to Galadriel and just immediately falls in love with her, and he doesn't know why, and he's just like obsessed with her. Like that's what happens in this millisecond. The Shiba Inu just melts, and he sits like a dog, starts to wag his tail, and is whining, waiting for Eros to give him a scratch.
Eros got 2 pets now.
And the other guys are all looking at him confused, but also just like shrugging. Half of them shrug, like, yeah, I understand. And the other two are just like, what do we do?
so Arrow says in his head, I can understand what you're saying, and now you can understand what I'm saying.
I know, mistress. It is quite beautiful indeed.
So allow me to repeat myself. What's in the forest? Don't piss on that. That's not a fire hydrant.
We will not piss on the sacred rock that you call a fire hydrant. No, we will not indeed.
No. It's not a fire hydrant.
It is a fire hydrant, and we will not piss on it. I am excited for this. You are indeed a happy person. Come in. You can read minds. This will be most useful.
Sure. Is there a place that we can drop our kids off first, though?
Ooh, children, a loving mother as well. The mistress has graced us. He yells in this language you don't understand, like other than comprehend languages.
I ask again, does anyone here speak moon runes?
Moon runes?
No.
Remind me of what you mean exactly.
That's a little.
Sounds like an
fuck,
obscure
Moon
reference.
No, so it's a joke when it comes. I think it refers to Japanese language moon runes.
Moon
Well, that would be
speak.
Moon Speak.
That would be moon speak.
Oh well, okay. Went over my head. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought it was Russian.
And if you said
thought it was
Moon
Russian?
Speak, then that'd be a different story.
Moon runes. Where have I heard that before?
No idea.
Well, why do you have so many he says in his head, and he's obviously confused. And mind you, right now everyone's just, unless you're speaking, everyone's just sitting in silence as this guy sits, wagging his tail, staring affectionately up at Eros. Like they're having a conversation in their head that none of you are part of. Like your characters are just so fucking confused right now. So before we continue their conversation, what do the rest of you do in this awkward silence where
Strike
Eros is
has seen this
obviously
plenty of
doing
times.
something? Like
Ollie
Strike
was-
kind of understands what Eros does by this point, but the rest of you, Eros telepathically connected to a couple of you, but I don't know. What do you do?
Strike has seen this plenty of times that he's doubled over laughing.
Okay.
Ollie is just asking about the moon runes.
The
They were
moon runes.
speaking.
Other than comprehend languages, I can't really do anything. I don't have tongues.
This makes me wish I picked up the evocation where I just understand anything I read.
Mm.
Mhm.
I mean, I can cast message and just communicate with anyone I wish, so that's kind of
I
other than that, I
in
can't.
language. If you
This
can't
is where
speak language.
I probably should. I don't know. I love language things, so playing with language is always something I enjoy as a GM, especially in this setting. This setting language is so diverse. There's so many different languages that are spoken. So,
Oh,
Damn,
wait
maybe
a
I shouldn't
second.
pick up
I
that
might be able to do
invocation.
something. So I can minor conjuration. So I can, as an action, I could do this. I'm just thinking, what would I be able to make? That would be the best thing
I don't know.
to. Wait a second. Um, can I the friendly dog, the dog that's friendly to arrows?
Eros. He's not paying attention to you right now, but yes.
Uh, is he technically counted as an ally now?
No.
Okay.
He's
What if I
friendly
walk?
to you, but he's not an ally.
Okay, so then can I
Like
walk
like
up to him?
like the with the same way that like charm works. Like you she latched on to his motivations in such a way that it immediately got the momentum points to convince him to be friendly to you. And then
Okay,
I'm just
then
playing with dog tropes.
okay, then can I approach, or can I either approach that him or one of the other
Okay,
dog folk?
before pit bulls start to growl at you, but they do not move as you approach.
Okay. I hold out my hand, not upwards, but downwards like a paw, and I flip it upwards, and I kind of ask for their paw. You know how you go up to a dog and you're like, paw?
Yeah.
I want to do. Can I do paw?
And then we end up in prison because we have
Okay,
offended them.
who are you doing this to?
I'm going up to one of the pit bulls.
One of the pit
And
bulls. Okay,
one of the
I
pit
would
bulls,
like
and
you to roll a persuasion check with disadvantage because they're not on the same
I'm
page as the
okay.
other.
So then, can I use how many inspiration is it to add to your skill check? Since this is a skill check.
You can.
So you can use 1 to roll advantage or spend 3 to make it a +20 on a skill check, if I recall correctly.
I'll spend 3 to make it plus 20 on a skill check. So
You still
I'll
have to roll the
roll.
check.
Yep, I'll roll it with disadvantage. It is a persuasion check.
Mm-hmm.
So 15 to 35.
Have a
What do you
similar
say?
idea, actually.
What do
I
you
just
role
say.
play it out? What do you say?
So I go like no, like I'm calling, or I guess I walk up and I go, and I guess like I'm not a tall, like we stand taller than them, so I go up kind of like and assert my dominance and like standing above them, and then I swiftly but dominantly put out my hand saying paw.
The one closest to you growls, whines, and looks back at the others, and the others start wagging their tail, and then he starts wagging their tail, and the one closest to you sits and looks back at the other one and looks at their leader, still distracted by Eros in some weird conversation, doesn't know but better to do, and gives his paw as he said.
Okay, and then as he gives the paw, I'm going to cast.
Gonna have him roll an insight check.
Can I cast Oh, you can only cast comprehend languages on yourself, not someone else.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No. Oh no, I didn't think this through, guys. I have
Oh,
this.
it happens.
I don't know what to do now. What do I look behind me and I'm like,
Well, what's happening?
I have a question. Does animal handling apply to Animaesus?
Mm.
No.
In the
Mm.
right situation, yes. This situation, no.
I would
um,
just like to walk up a little closer and kind of sniff them.
Okay. Like Animesus technically are qualified as humanoid beasts, Fae. Like they are a mixture of 3 different types. So
I
that's why I
just want to
said
sniff them. I just
you
want to
can,
sniff them.
you can sniff. Okay.
and
That's
then
all I'm
and then
doing.
yeah.
There is a little awkward as the couple of them get distracted by this whole situation, and then one of the pit bulls in the back says in a language none of you understand without comprehending languages. Those of you who do have comprehending languages, I would say, "Sir, what do we do?" And then he shakes his head. It's like looks at Alexander that's walked closer
Yeah.
and everything. And he's
So-
like, please, step back. Tries to straighten himself back up as he got distracted.
Yeah, and then I just use minor conjuration to create a statue of the church. Since I've been here at the city before, I make an exact replica in my hand of
Okay.
the church that is the main chapel cathedral at this city
Um,
using my minor
Okay.
conjuration.
This city is extremely diverse, so I will have to ask the question: what race do you focus on? What main deity for what race? Because the
Dog
dog
race.
people
Dog race.
run this city.
Dog priest. Yeah, dog
Okay.
priest.
Okay. Okay. There's a Eros can't help but notice that this effigy looks a little bit like Snoopiest Doggiest.
Oh my
Mm.
god.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doggy.
Seth, might I remind you, I have a 28 in my passive perception, so I'd notice.
None of this escapes you. None of this escapes you. There's very little that's going to escape that 28 passive. So, very little. I have another Fintaurus because that's the last character that had that high of passive perception. Goodness. But yeah. Okay.
Eros would.
They're asking you to step back. They look at the effigy that's appearing in their hand. One of the pit bulls, the closest one to Alexander, like looks at it with those eyes of like, can I take it? Even though his hand's already out.
You
And
could take it.
he takes it and he looks at it and they Okay. I would like you to also, Alexander, before we end that little thing, roll a deception check because this thing doesn't last for forever.
Okay, yeah, it disappears after 1 hour, so.
I have another idea. It's a bit meta, but I have another idea. Could I reveal the spirit of Kaiten to them, since they revered him, as you said? Kind of, sort of.
Do you know
All Animaesus have a somewhat understanding of Kaiten. Yes.
Can I reveal him somehow, even if it's just with minor illusion?
I don't know. What do you do?
Project an image of him. At least the way I see him in my head.
What do you project? What do you project?
His appearance, basically.
What do you project?
That he's kind of merged with me, and that's because I look the way I look.
Well, no, he's asking for the description of Kaiten himself.
Like, what do you think Kaiten looks like? Is my question.
Shit, what did you describe him as? This kind of beast dinosaur thing with a spiked tail, I'm pretty sure it was.
He's kind of a weird dinosaur beast minotaur man.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, is what he is.
And then I kind of, in imagery, describe how his spirit has merged with me, and kind of resides within me, and I'm sort of on a mission here. So
I would like a performance check, because this is going to require multiple minor illusions to kind of get this across, like multiple casts of minor illusion. So I'd like a performance check.
Okay, I'm using the thing where I get plus 20 to it because of a -1.
Oh!
Dang.
Okay, there you go. They are surprised and awe. You hear in the language, in the comprehend language spell, them starting to say in a revering sort of sense that a paragon of the ancients is here. One of them says, and a couple others like, no, that's not true. And then the leader like barks again, and he's like, oh, please, enough time talking on the bridge with all eyes seen. Let's find a quiet place for you. Would you like a tavern, or we can find you a home if you would prefer your own home for your time staying here? It will be a charge, of course.
I mean, well, money's not really a concern. As long as, well, this place seems nice enough. But yeah, we'll just take a home.
Well, why are you here? We should also ask. He obviously is distracted by just the enormity of everything that's in front of him. Like, you guys are. It's obvious he can tell you guys are special, powerful. Like he just. How do I word it? He's kind of drooling over the idea of what you represent in a way. I don't know, like this adventure kind of idea.
Eros would first say to him, 2 seconds, and would turn to Strike and Alexander saying out loud, "Could you guys, like, back the fuck up a little bit? Please? A little bit of space?"
Why? They're
Just-
cool.
Yeah, but come on. I'm trying to do something here, and you're being very distracting.
All right, distracting.
I know. Just please.
Just because it's you.
They're starting to notice the other people behind you guys as you're having this conversation, Dolly and Roxana and Nouvelle. And it's obviously Dolly's general appearance is something that the guy who rolled the 14 recognizes and is just like, kind of like, oh, like this is a traveler that's via Animaesus have accepted in different cities. They have been through this city before at this time, talking about like different interactions that, Dolly has had, and then the conversation is mostly focused on the drow, and then the children aren't such a big idea until they see a second drow. And then it's just like, this is Eros hears it quite clearly, the word drow thrown around, and the tone is not comfortable. They don't like the feeling of this. And then you hear whispers, and only because you're 28 fucking passive perception, you hear them talking about the obvious distrust of the drow, but there's been, in the last 3 days or so, descriptions on the outskirts, one of them says, of drow or something like that, like these dark creatures that are investigating some of the smaller farms and stuff like that on the outskirts. And like, they're wondering if blame should be placed on you guys as part of that. Like, and there's a lot. This is all happening as they're starting to lead you up through the city, like talking about some of these things, knowing that, assuming you guys don't understand, they haven't quite picked up like the other guy has, that you can comprehend languages.
Eros, in response to hearing all of that, says to the Sheba, "Look, I understand there are a few reservations about my drow compatriots, but I can assure you, to the best of my ability, that we really don't mean any harm. We're just here for a little bit of information. Maybe a day or two we'll stay, but we'll be leaving. We're not here for any trouble."
You roll a persuasion check and get a 24, and they're like, okay.
25?
25.
I'm not there yet.
I'm not there. Okay, like they're fine. Like they're like, it's like they're like, you would, but I'm not gonna have you roll unless you want to see if you roll higher. But you're
There's
gonna
always
convince
the
them.
fun of doing it.
Like,
Eh?
beautiful. Like they are going, like, they're like, okay, cool. Maybe one of them is just, well, maybe we should put him in this house. And like, that's the really nice one, but yeah, but it's off the beaten track, man. Then we don't gotta worry about any flack from all the others. And they're like, okay. So they're like, you basically just got hooked up with like a really nice house to stay in, like an Airbnb sort of situation.
Sweet.
But
Or
they
just have a
start to go to their captain, and their captain's like, if we're gonna do this, then they should do something for them. And I'm like, well, money exchange, I have to do paperwork for that. Well, and they all like say this word that none of you recognize. So I'd like a history check, and then I'll say the word, because players might know what this is. So I'd like a history check to see if your players know what the fuck they just said, because it's a word that translates in all languages. It's not, but it's obvious part of it. So
I mean,
You
it's
guys-
less of a it's in a different language and more of a it's just an unknown phrase type of thing.
yeah. Okay. Eros is the only one that knows what this is as a player. Has heard about these things in their travels. The rest of you, I'll let Eros describe what it is. If
I didn't roll a history check. My bad.
Oh, you can roll.
28.
Oh, you know too. Okay. Eros and Alexander in their travels have heard, and I'll say Alexander with a 28 has probably even encountered one of these before. But the description that Eros gives is that there are 4 of these outside of the city that the Shiva comes to you as you get to the door of your really nice mansion at the top of the hill that you're being given. You can stay here for the time you need to do your business, and we will keep our mouths shut if you can promise to help us with something. We have a Gorgon problem. They have risen from the swamps and traversed up north here and are terrorizing the northern foresters, destroying crops, destroying farms. They do not consume anything. They simply seem to be ravaged by the blood of the Tarask. If you can aid with these things, we will do our best to aid you, and you have a free stay here for the time you need. You still haven't quite told me what you're here for.
Well, sure, we can do that for you. I guess
You guys know what a Gorgon is? I should say.
That's a
The
snake
D&D
thing, right?
Gorgon or the
No.
mythological?
Medusa is what D&D calls that.
And I just took a fight at it with blind fighting. I'll be good.
It's the bull. It's the
Yeah.
mechanical bull.
They are monstrosities. Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was the mechanical bull.
Copy image.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep,
Yeah.
mechanical bull. Yep, and it has I think acid, right, or something. I forgot what it has.
Yeah.
No, it's petrifying. Yes, because I lost a character to it before. Yeah, those
Oh
suckers.
shit!
Yeah.
Okay, well, your 28 would let you know pretty much everything about this creature, so...
Is it with their eyes that they
That
petrify?
is what was well known. No, it's a breath
It's a
thing
breath
that they do. They have a breath weapon. Other than that, they're a bull. They act like a bull. It's just they are not a beast in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, some monster that they need taken care of. And there's a herd of them. A small herd.
So yeah, Eros would say that. No, yeah, we can help out with that. That's not a problem. I mean, I could still pay you in gold, but that works too.
Well, the gold, I then have to explain where I got it from, and
well, the thing is, if there's anyone who knows about history in the city, like ancient Animaesus history, if we could get in contact with them, that would be nice.
He looks and converses with the others. Where is the button? I had the wrong sheet open. Well, the council would be a good place, he would say. In the mind's eye connection, of course. The head member of the council, Charleaf, is a powerful fortune teller, I am told. Perhaps, and has traveled decently wide. If not, you could try the central library near the waterfall. It was established by the gnomes generations ago.
Any of that. Anything would be helpful. Oh, yeah, one more thing. You don't mind if the kids walk around the city, do you?
You are led up to one of the rooms, and he opens the window, and he leads you. You look out the window as he kind of leads you to it, and you see a different perspective of the city. That, like, kind of behind this wall of trees, kind of dug down in, is like a city central sort of thing. And he's like, "Please, please," and you see people about, kids about. Like, it's obviously a very happy, kind of genuine place. Let them walk freely. I will. He snaps his finger at one of the gods, uh communicates them within their weird language, and then tells them about, hey, let everyone know that there are two female drow that will be walking and with these other, describing you all within the next couple days, and that they have the grace of, um I didn't name this guy. I should have named this guy the Shiba, but he will.
He needs a name.
He needs a name, so I'll come up with a name. But that mess guy runs. One of the pit bulls runs out of the room. Shiba kind of nods at you and is like, please, let us know if you need anything else. I must, official communications. He can't run everywhere." And he orders one of them to stay outside, like downstairs in one of the rooms with you all. So there's a contact, and then him and the other two leave and go to the city unless you stop them.
Before he leaves, she'll kneel down and say thanks while scratching him behind the ears.
His tail wags, his eye squints a little bit, and then he shakes it off before he gets too lost in it and kind of walks away. Nods at you.
Your claws hurt.
Good time. All right, you guys, other than one of the pit bull guys down below, are more or less, after about an hour and a half or so of dealing with this, have a room to yourself. And the timing of this is sundown. Like, the sun is over the horizon. It is getting dark. They're starting to light lamps and things like that around the city. Outside, you can tell the couple servants that obviously keep this house in order are starting to prepare the nighttime kind of things now that there are guests. What do you do?
Lay down.
Eros would
Lay down.
say to the group,
Lay down.
okay, so we have this place for residence for a few days. In exchange,
Yes, I catch.
we have to go kill some bulls that aren't bulls, kind of pseudo bulls that are fucking up the farms and shit.
Sprite puffs himself up, extends his claws, and nods vigorously. Yes, let's do it.
Donovan comes up, is like, yeah, let's get him.
Kids, no. Just, no. Kids, you
Come
stay
on,
here.
we can take one of them.
These are not
Leandra says.
bulls. Does anyone, well, you guys probably don't, but, who here knows what a gorgon is?
Those egg things.
No, not a
let's-
gorgon, a gorgon.
That's so confusing. Explain it.
Let's have them roll some history checks.
Alexander raises his hand.
I'll have the kids roll some history checks. Has all three have read about it? No. Donovan. I'm gonna give Donovan disadvantage.
Why?
Because it's Donovan. He doesn't read. Are you kidding me?
He's not stupid, I think. What's his
He's
intelligence?
not. I'm not saying he's stupid. I'm just saying he doesn't read. There's a difference.
Okay, that's right.
I know this as an English teacher explicitly. Okay.
You don't read?
Do you not remember high school?
Okay.
I mean, there were some stupid people in business school, so yeah.
All right. Rogar is the only one that may have seen like a picture about it in like a weird like children's book that is like an encyclopedia of the beasts of the world, the weird monsters, dragons, and the like, you know, and like and he goes over to Donovan. He's like, this is a fight that we're just gonna get in the way, little one. And Donovan just growls at him.
No trolling at your brother.
Yeah. Stray, you had your hand raised. Yes. What would you like to bring to the attention of the class?
What, me?
No, not you. The peacock person. Alexander.
Alexander.
The fuck? Peacock? Stray, peacock, whatever. Just start calling me a different animal every time.
Human.
I mean, if you insist, but did you know something?
If this is a herd, yes, I do know about gorgons. I've studied them extensively because they are a sort of thing that I may or may not want. But they should be no problem as long as there's not too many. How many did they say there were?
A small herd.
Like
they didn't tell you, did they?
They said a small herd. So
Can I infer what a small herd is?
A herd is
of small could
technically a herd by definition is 3 or more.
So small.
So at least 2.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
As long as it's 1, 2, 3, 4. As long as it's not more than 4, I got this.
I mean, we have a strike.
We have me. Yeah.
But sure. If you can do something, that's also great.
Yeah. Yes, I can do something easily.
Strike, who's almost as big as one of these things.
No,
and he's looking forward to ripping and tearing some
we can go out there and I can literally just instantly get rid of the problem. I don't.
Nouvelle would speak up. Well, we have to find the things first. It's like they didn't give us much information.
That's a good point. Did they say anything regarding where we could find them, or do we just have to search and get lucky?
By the farms. They've come from...
They said these things were north. Rumors of the drow were south.
Yeah, we gotta go north to the farms. Farm norths. They should be there. They haven't been doing anything but fuck shit up. So, it's kind of weird.
Well, what you know from your history checks, these things are... They don't have a rhyme or reason to what they do. No one exactly knows why they exist, only that they showed up around the same time that Harask was felled, and they just appear every so often.
Well, they're about to disappear.
Mm-hmm. You could also know that you could ask a little bit more in the city, like you guys could roll an investigation or persuasion check to attempt to get better information to make your survival check easier to find them.
I'll do an investigation.
But it is kind of late right now, so I will say any check to find information will be a disadvantage because the Cynus, although they enjoy a good party, they are not a 24-hour people exactly. So, like, it is getting a little late. So you can attempt to get the information, or you can wait till tomorrow. It's up to you.
I'll wait till tomorrow, but I think Eros got it.
Eros rolled a 27 with disadvantage. Okay.
Because Eros.
Okay.
The DC was a 25.
I can't roll lower than a 25.
Because this is something that not a lot of people know about, because most people that have been involved didn't survive. Like,
You're setting yourself up for failure if you ask for this persuasion checks.
I know, no, I'm setting myself up to see numbers that make me want to cringe, but also make me happy. So I don't know. I don't mind it. I enjoy the roles just as much as you guys do. Like, honestly, just seeing like, well, fuck, I can just tell you everything now, and
Yeah,
it
I
just
want to know
makes it
all the
easier.
lore, Seth. All the lore.
The
It's me.
deepest lore.
Okay, so about a 10 miles or so north of the city, near to, but not like near to the edge of the river north, is where one of the battles of the Tarask over the long, different stories tell how long the battle was, from days to weeks, but where one of the engagements happened with the Tarask, with one of the armies that was destroyed, and the supposedly these Gorgon herd are using the rock outcroppings and weird waterfalls that have kind of erupted from there over the years to have places with cover and whatnot to keep them away from eyes. Their instinct seems to be rather strong. And they pinpoint on a local map the area, which will give you advantage on your survival check, and this will lower the DC by 5 to find it. When you guys get to that, you can push through the night if you would like to and go up there and then camp near there, potentially risking exhaustion that you'll be able to get away if you rest, or you can just rest here and travel there tomorrow.
Well, with my arcane recovery, actually no. I think I used my spell slot for the teleport, but I do have a level 8 spell slot, so I could upcast a magnificent mansion, and we could, if we want to make our way up there, we could rest there in the
If
mansion.
that's what you guys want to do, like, it's up to
If
you.
that's what you want to do, if you want to save time.
Like, you
or if
guys
you-
are not pressed for time in any way, shape, or form. I'm just telling you what you would come to mind, I guess, from one of the characters at least.
we can either stay in the Airbnb or stay in this.
I'd rather stay here.
Huh?
It doesn't really. We don't have to walk out right now. We can relax.
We're used to way worse conditions than that. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just bunk down for the night, and we'll handle it in the morning.
There are different rooms of various sizes and shapes that have been created by different artists and additions to this place. It's very amalgamous and different in each way. Each one of your rooms is probably has a different theme almost to it in a way. Like, one's more rugged with like dark trim wood and things like that, where one is like painted bright yellow, and it's just everything's yellow, and you're just like, okay, whatever. It's just odd. And then there's another one where there's just glass fixtures everywhere. Just it The Cynus are very odd people. They're very quirky. And it's obvious, like, different people have owned this place over like at least 100 years. It's an old building, it seems, on the whole. So if you would like to describe what your room looks like to add to the flair, you're more than welcome to. Other than that, I would like everyone to roll a sanity save to gain sanity.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So what do we roll?
Roll a sanity save to gain sanity.
17.
Damn,
Very surprising.
with that -4 though.
Yeah, that's almost a net 20.
Well, technically, mine is at -4. It's 1. Oh, it is +4, so that would be 0. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm opening the kids because they need to do this.
Oh.
So that's a 16 for me.
Give me a sec to do things. Apparently Roxana was made before I did this, so there's that. Nonetheless, sanity save to gain sanity.
Yeah. What's my starting sanity again?
It's an average of your 6 stats.
Or
Rounded.
whatever you didn't sacrifice
The
for stats.
scores or ability increases?
The whatever the final your final 6 stats are. Like, so add up your 6 scores, 16 plus
Scores,
whatever.
okay.
Yeah, 16 plus whatever. And then, do the average and round up
Oh.
to, and that's your starting sanity.
Yeah, I didn't know if you meant scores or modifiers.
Yeah, my bad. I usually try to get to most people, but I don't always. And the DC for a sanity save is always your score, or your current score is. For losing it or gaining it. Everyone, though, is going to gain 1 sanity for just being in a very comfortable place on the whole and being in relative safety for the first time in 7 to 8 days, at least for the 3-party. For Dolly and or Alexander, I'll leave that to you, since Alexander wasn't a cage. Like, it's been a while since you guys have been in a safe place. So if you beat your sanity score, roll an additional d4 to add that to the 1 you're already gaining in your sanity to gain more sanity back, as you not only the safe place, but the people you're with, the children especially. It's a very, I feel the characters, it's unexpected, somewhat endearing in a way.
And I
So,
rolled it.
If you want to spend an inspiration to reroll it, you can.
No, I'm taking the -3. It's better than what I had before.
Okay. So everyone gets at least 1, and then roll the d4 if you beat it to gain additional. I'm going to Althea. Let me open the dice roller. Althea gains 3 back, which brings her to not a negative, which is really good.
Do we round up or down?
Round up.
Okay.
Donovan. Nice. Donovan gains 2 back, but she's no longer at a negative either, which is good.
Yep.
And DC 13. Oh, Leandra just got it. Leandra gains 4.
Damn.
Which is good. And Rogar, unfortunately, didn't beat his DC, but he does get 1. Okay. So you didn't beat the DC, which is your score, Kosir, but you don't lose any, but you do gain 1 sanity nonetheless, just because of what I described. So you can change your score up
Wait,
by
this
1.
brings up a question. 6 days have passed and stuff, right?
This is part of this. Like, this is all that's going to happen for sanity in those 6 days. That's like
No. My question was, one of the conditions was to spend time with the kids, especially with Leandro, and Strike would have done so in those days. Do I roll anything for that, or do we just leave it as is?
Yeah, roll an additional d4.
Okay.
It's a good point. Nice. Gain an additional 4.
Thank you. All the way up to -1. It's so much better.
Yes. You went from a 2 to a 9. It's a lot. Okay. All right. So less insane people walking around, but still nonetheless, you can roll. Remember, as a reminder to the new players and old players alike, for sanity, it is a role play mechanic. The only time a mechanic will come into play is when you get to 0 sanity, and that will be a madness that you and I discussed. Greed just hinted to his. He hit 0 sanity as the only character so far that's got to that point, and it was related to the children, the death of the children, whatnot, and it was kind of connected to Leandra running away as part of a little bit of what happened there. So we discussed that he needs to reestablish a relationship with Leandra. his daughter and try to get closer to her. So the more he does that, the once he gets to positive sanity, we'll discuss, hey, is this madness still worth exploring?
Yeah,
Or
and we already kind of went there because he went a little loco in the coco, kind of pushing all the stuff on her, and then later was like, hey, sorry about that, and then they talked it out, and then it was all better. And it's slowly starting to go back up.
Okay. All right. Does anyone want to do anything in during your nighttime? Other than that, you can account for your long rest.
Yes, I have an idea in mind.
Same.
Strike, you want to go first for it?
One thing
You go ahead.
before
Alright.
you describe your scene, something that can happen because you're in a safe place to go. Depending on when exactly you guys want to travel tomorrow, if you guys have 8 hours in a day of uninterrupted time where you're not resting or traveling, you can invest that time in proficiency gain as described in the handouts. If you would like to make that check, I'll ask for that check in the morning, to ask, hey, are you guys going to spend more time in the city to do that? Or are you traveling and going there? So things to think on, but Eros, what is your idea?
So they're in the house. The sun is setting, planning to get some rest. After they eat, Eros. I don't know if Dolly would or wouldn't. Not asking Dolly to do this. Not knowing if whether or not Dolly conjures any food for them to eat. Uh, Eros would cook food for everyone.
There would be basic food in the kitchen area for you guys to like nibble on. Not like enough for a huge meal, but for enough for you to make like a soup or a stew, maybe some bread.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
That's what I
I
do.
could cast create food and water, but also the food is bland, so it's probably best to make something that actually has taste to it.
Yeah,
That's
so
true.
Eros would make soup, like that's what you do.
Soup?
Then
Would you like
after,
to roll? You don't have to. Would you like to roll a cooking check to see how good it is? And are
I
you
mean,
proficient in cooking?
I feel like I should be by this point.
Yeah, I feel like you should be too.
Eris cooks
So
for us all the time. She
give yourself tool proficiency in chef's tools, which you can drag and drop from the compendium if you want, but or whatever it's called, cooking utensils. That's what it's called. No,
Yes.
Cooks utensils.
cooks utensils. Yeah, you can give yourself proficiency and whatnot if you would like. In that, and I don't know. Cooking to me is a mixture of dexterity and charisma. Like it's like it's putting love in it, and it's like it's also like making sure you move at the right time to not burn it. Like
Cooking is chemistry, but you're cooking
Yeah.
food or cooking drugs.
Yeah, basically.
same thing, really.
Okay, Mike. Those of you that have an insight under 18, this is really good. If your insight's above 18, you've had better.
My insight's a 2. Oh, I haven't rolled
So
it
you
yet.
have a 12, like passive insight is like 10 plus whatever your score is. I should say.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really good. It's really good soup that you've had before. You've
Let's
never had before.
go. Pretty good soup. I like
It's
soup.
not as bitter as the Amberhawk soup.
Okay.
I like soup.
But then, so yeah, just to say that is one of the things she does. But after that, she would go up to Roxana and ask her, "Hey, can I talk to you?" about something in private?
I picture Roxana's on one of the many balconies nearby the kitchen and just looking at the sunset. You don't see a sunset of like different shades and colors like this in the City of Salt. It's always just a bland brown or red color because of all the smog and nastiness that just comes from the city. So she nods, not looking at you, still looking at the sunset, and then looks towards you and obviously tells something's off and just like, well, where do you want to talk?
Just, you know what? I don't even. And her eyes flash purple, and she establishes a link. Is this balcony like a open balcony, or does it have doors?
I picture an open balcony.
Okay.
Like doors to the kitchen, like a door to the kitchen, but it's like open to everything. And there's like a small table with a couple of chairs. She was sitting in one of the chairs. Maybe like a vase with a flower in it on the small table.
Okay.
Like lined with wood and grass. Like it's almost dug into the side of the mountain.
Then Eros would, on the balcony, kind of hop over the railing, sitting on it, but leaning against the wall to where she's like out of eye shot of anyone looking through the doorway, and would telepathically say, "Would you wouldn't have mind if we walked through the forest instead of did you prefer teleporting here?"
He chuckles a little bit. It was quicker. I've never done it before. I'm glad I don't get sick like Strike. I thought he was going to puke up his ribs.
He was.
But I think walking, I would have liked to see a little bit more of the land. I've never really got to. I was kind of put in a carriage and brought to the city in rather speedy fashion from the different escorts that finally led me to whatever his name was. She knows his name, but doesn't want to say it out of disrespect, honestly. uh, but, but we're here now. Why? Why does it bother you?
I um I don't know. I just like I'm the one taking care of us and leading us through here. Then we get a stray and another human showing up, being able to do things that I can't, and that I just, I don't know, just didn't seem fun to do that.
Well, we can make it fun. Why don't we stay in the city a little longer? This place seems so happy. Maybe we go to a few taverns, make some coin, enjoy ourselves a few nights with some friends and compatriots and others, and get a little naked, get a little drunk. What like come on, we haven't done that in a while. Maybe that's worth it.
I mean,
Pay one of these nice little pit bulls to watch the kids. I don't know.
that's definitely something I want to do, but I don't know. I almost feel like I might be dragging people through something they don't want to do. I don't know.
Well, I think they want to be here. I just don't think we exactly know where we're going yet. But I also think, look at it this way. We have a seemingly sequestered, quiet little man that is like one of the most powerful wizards, obviously, in the lands, come into our pocket. Then we meet this swirly-haired cloak woman that has the presence of some deity just as strong as the chitin that follows Strike. The lands are almost speaking to us, asking us. They're giving us tools. Like, I think it's saying what we're doing is right. This is what we should do. This will bring peace or fun or happiness, whatever we want. Or at the least, she gets close to you and nuzzles up to your shoulder. We just get to have more time together, doing something no one else has ever done.
Yeah. I just. Just getting a few more days to, having a few days to be back to what I used to do. I like scavenging, foraging, and just walking. So it was just.
I think we'll have plenty of time for that. We'll tell little Alexander to, bark his alakazam every third or fourth day. We can enjoy it a little more. I'm fine with that. We're in no rush. Like, the city of Salt's burning. We're not going back. Like, we don't have anything to worry about. And it's obvious the rest of the world seems to care little either.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't worry about that.
I would, if you really don't want to worry, but her to worry, but it's gonna, you still are worried about it. You're trying to deceive her. Roll a deception check, because she's gonna try, and she gets advantage because of how close you are.
Well, I can't roll lower than a 20.
God damn it. So she believes you, even though a little apprehensive. She kind of nods and kind of loops her arm into your arm, like like a prom date sort of thing, and it just kind of puts her head on your shoulder, doesn't really look at you, and just the way the content sigh and kind of nuzzle into your shoulder, she's obviously 100% completely content with whatever you do, and she's ready for this adventure, and just looks at the sunset as it's finally just closing.
As the sun just falls out of the sky.
It explodes into a gushy madness. No, but that's a beautiful scene. Get
Fucking
2
sun
inspiration
explodes.
point. You guys eventually go to bed. Does any Strike you wanted to do something?
Yeah. Strike can't sleep. So he knocks on Nouvelle's door.
He knocks on who?
Nouvelle. Shadow Butter.
Oh, I thought you said the god's door, and I was like, who? Like,
No,
what
the god
god?
is me.
I was like, you're gonna talk to Chitin? Okay.
I wouldn't knock on his door, I would just say, yo, you up?
He's like, I never sleep, bro. I'm dead. Nonetheless. I would like you to roll a D100, and I'm not going to tell you what it's for.
Oh, god.
And I would like you to choose high or low.
I was about to say.
It's been a while since I've done a high or low.
I was going to say that.
I mean, I rolled a 72, so let's say high, I guess.
Okay. See, before I asked you to roll, I chose high or low. And then you rolled. And then I asked you to choose high or low to see, hey, does it match with what I'm thinking? It's a weird mechanic I've done before that just makes me laugh because I don't always know what to decide. And this is a weird thing because of things you said in chat and things that are before. You hear some shuffling from inside after the knock, rather abruptly, and in common, who is it?
It's me!
Some more shuffling, and then the door opens, and she's peering around the corner of the door, keeping it mostly closed, where the door is hiding everything but like the top from her nose up. You don't see her mouth or anything below. It's like hiding her face. Stuff.
Strike tilts his head and asks, bad timing? We're getting changed or something?
No. It's been a while since we've had time to rest, and we've been through a bit. Give me a moment. She closes the door, and it's like, Strike, I would like you to roll an insight check.
Okay. It's safe to say neither of us expected such a high roll.
Okay. About a minute goes by the time it would take to don light armor. And she comes back to the door about a minute and opens the door and come in.
I'm gonna walk in and say, putting armor on at this time of day?
You can gauge by what little she has carried with her. The armor is literally the only clothes she possesses right now.
Putting armor on this time of day, at this part of the country, localized entirely inside this room.
Can I see it?
She's wearing her.
Can I see it? No.
She's wearing her armor. It's mithril scale mail armor.
Oh, I get it.
And she has like half of it on, enough to like cover her. Your insight check, now that you see her, there's also a mirror in the room. She was making sure like I don't know, like nothing's happened. She was like looking over her body, obviously, to make sure there was something not changed or different or whatnot. Like that's what your insight would tell. Like she was trying to make there was something off that she felt was off or something. So she's like, "What do you want?" It's late, man. And you generally, she's an elf. She like you don't know when she sleeps or if she sleeps. You don't understand how the trance works.
I couldn't sleep, so I figured I'd bother you a little. Knowing elves don't really need a lot of sleep.
Okay. Bother me about what? You have a question about something? Or?
Nah, I'm just really bored. Wanna go out for a drink? Wanna go sparring? Maybe shopping a little? You didn't pack a lot of clothes, did you?
I'm not. I think we should probably get our rest for these organs we're going to fight tomorrow. I don't even know what these are, but by the description
I don't know
of
either, so we should make sure we're prepared, right?
By drinking? She smiles.
That and maybe a little sparring session. Never hurts.
Okay. Roll a persuasion check.
Okay.
Oh!
I was like, she has to roll under 5 to like want to even do this because she's kind of a lawful person, like in a way. So she smiles And sure, and just give me a few more minutes. And then you start to walk away, and she stops you and asks you to help her put the rest of her armor back on, because it does take a couple minutes to put medium armor on. All of it.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
I would like you to roll an insight check.
Okay.
She's flirting with you. This is Shallow Butter's way of flirting, which is indirect. Like, she's not gonna come out and say it. You get the general idea. But after you finish putting the armor on, you go, and she basically, her demeanor changes. Rather than being this 150, 200-year-old elf that's been involved in the city almost since its inception, seen countless wars and fights and blood, you see something that reminds you of Althea a little bit as she starts to get excited to go see the nightlife of the city in a way. How much gold are you spending?
What are we
What are you
spending it
looking
on is the big question.
I don't know. What are you spending it on? That's her question. Like, are we like she rolled a nat one. She's like, "What the fuck are we doing? Take me." Like, it's like their stance. You said drinking, let's go drinking. You said shopping, let's go shopping. You want to spar? Fine, I'll kick your fucking ass.
You kick my ass? Oh, we'll see about that. But that comes last. For now, let's go on a little shopping trip. Let's get you some nicer clothes for everyday life.
She smiles, confused a little bit, but smiles nonetheless, and then blushes that word purple that drow do, and turns away a little ashamedly. And fine clothes are, I think, 10, 15 gold is what they say in there.
I have like 71 gold and 218 silver still from the raid of the dead landlord.
Yeah, if you just want to find a basic, like, nice dress, that's what I'll say it is. If you want to go after something more magical, then we'll do a roll. But
I like gambling. Let's go for something more magical.
okay, roll a investigation at disadvantage or persuasion at disadvantage. Normal roll because Shalabut is with you. She'd assist. I guess so. Normal roll, one of those to see the grade. What like how good of a shop do you find in this place? Are you able to find the hidden little nook where there's this seamstress that can make really awesome shit?
Yeah, so it's a normal roll
In this time. Yeah, that like this is 100% a luck roll. Like, you just you stumble across the right alley, the right
all these
street.
rolls, strikes in a himbo is coming out.
Okay, so persuasion 21. Okay, not too bad. All right. Let me open the thingy. Where is it? Oh, I scrolled past it. Of course, my brain would scroll past it. Okay. I do it all the time.
Same.
Okay, so Taylor. Okay. You find a a tailor that actually has fine clothes. It actually has something that's made from finer silks and things like that. And they I would like a D4, good sir.
Well, D4. You shall get your D4.
Oh no. Okay. They have one dress that could be altered for shallow butter of the fine clothes variety. I would like another D4 at a -1.
And a -1. Okay.
Nice. They have some bolts of cloth. 3 different kinds of bolts of cloth. I need to find my page for these things again. But of the magical sort of variety. They can have different properties. Depending on how much you want to spend, good sir.
How much does it
Uh,
cost? What I'm
your
asking.
arm and your leg. Ha ha. No.
I'm not trying to bring back my dead mother, okay?
You don't want your arm and your leg gone? Sorry.
I just have to run it through a converter real quick. I have 218 silver. How much is it in gold?
218 silver.
It should be like
Forget the conversion off the top of my.
21.8 and 71 gold.
Okay. They have some. They have some. Ooh, that's expensive. We'll say they have it nonetheless. They have this linen that they've traded from this weird guy that was a fae that came from some other plane. I don't know. But it is from a place called Shadowfell. He don't know what the fuck that means. So, they also have it gives helps with psychic damage basically. They also have bolts of leather. A bolt of leather that's supposedly was traded from a place called Clod and Row, where they killed this like devil or something. Maybe it was a demon. I don't know, but it is expensive. They say. And then the other thing they have, which is one of the more common things, in the world that even Eros has, you recognize it. It's just a slightly different color. We'll say, is they have some shadow silk.
Yeah, midway through, I just interrupt the shopkeeper and say, "Look, I'm a simple man. Give it to me in simple words and simple numbers. What does it do? How much does it cost?"
He looks at you, just blinks, and is just like he's just sad that it's that, you know. But he looks and these two are traded from strange places. The leather is 750 gold to be applied to their dress. It'll take me some time to sew in the proper arrangements. There's a beautiful reddish hue to it that I think would lend to the purple in her skin. Shadowfell, same thing. It comes from far and wide, strange place. Shadow Silk, it's local. Some of it is. That I have to look up a CR rating. Hold on.
What is the CR rating now?
It's in this book. It tells me what level of tensile strength the silk of the spider.
Oh,
The book
it's
of
in
power
first
levels, I
place.
see.
It's a negative. It's a negative 30.
It's like when you go into a bar, into a tavern in D&D, and the barkeep just pulls out a book and asks a race and legal drinking age.
But if you just say
Um,
dwarf, it gives you the cup no matter what.
Yeah. The shadow
Formula is
soak.
like 90% alcohol.
The shadow soak that he has here is by far the cheapest, and it's what he has the most. He was trying to upsell these other things that are he obviously hasn't had a chance to sell because of how expensive they are. The shadow silk would basically double the price of the dress, to like 30 gold to like have it put in there. The other stuff is just it's more powerful because it affects damage. It's kind of like a minor resistance, sort of. So, like, combat mechanics wise, Shadow Silk gives you a passive +3 bonus to stealth checks to hide in lightly obscured areas. And the others give a -3 damage reduction. The leather being from a devil gives -3 damage reduction. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, -3 damage reduction, and also gives a bonus to persuasion checks. And then the Shadowfell gives a reduction to psychic, which is rare as fuck. To see.
Let's just go with the Shadow Silk then.
Okay, so 30 gold for the dress, and it will take them a day. Like, it'll take them a good 8-hour chunk of time, and this is at night, so they're like, this time tomorrow, they ask?
Just look at her and ask, this time tomorrow?
You'll have to convince Eros. She seemed pretty keen on leaving.
Shouldn't be a problem.
Smiles with, like, that smile of, like, well, you'll see. We'll see how...
Wait. How much to expedite it a little?
How quickly do you want it?
Do you work at nights, or
How quickly do you want it?
how much do you charge?
If you wanted it done by the morning, then let's say 60 gold.
That's fair.
Smiles and gets to work. Starts measuring it out. Come here, young lady. Measures out shallow butter, and there you go. After about 15-20 minutes of that, and kind of organizing some of the paperwork and whatnot, you pay her the 60 gold, and shallow butter is... So, do I kick your ass now, or do you want to be drunk first, so it hurts less?
Big words for a little lady. Let's go grab a drink first, and then we'll see who's the better of us.
Okay. How much money do you spend on drinks, and how long do you drink?
Drinks are more like silver, right? Which I have a lot of.
More or less.
Yeah, let's get enough to be slightly inebriated, but not too much, so we're still functioning when we're going out to kill the beasties.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you go for straight ale, it's actually copper. If you go for dwarven ale, it's silver. It's up to you. How
Some
strong you
dwarven
want it.
ale, some
Dwarven.
in between, maybe. Some in between.
Okay,
A
so
little bit of mix.
how many drinks do you want? And that'll tell me how many drinks do you think you drink?
Let's say 2 or 3.
2 or 3. Shallow butter has 4.
Then I'm having 4. Got a little upstage.
Shallow butter has 5.
Oh.
I'm having 5.
Shallow butter has 6.
I'm having 6.
Shallow Butter was 7.
I'm rank 7.
So
Constitution versus poison to see how drunk you get.
We're gonna
Concept
go to the
would be like
tavern
a
for
sec-
breakfast in the morning. We're just gonna find him passed out on a table.
You're fine. Shallow Butter is fucking hammered. Hammered drunk. You're cool. You have to walk Shallow Butter out, and she wants to fight you down the whole way, but she's like skipping stones, and her head's hanging. She's drunk as fuck. So
Maybe we should do a sparring session another day. You've had a little too
no,
much.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Are you sure?
Roll a persuasion check to convince her not to fight you. Okay, you convince her. She passes out in your arms, and you carry her home the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I just carry her back.
And okay, I never thought Shallow Butter was gonna be more than like, hey, I'm the guard of the drow, and then now Shallow Butter is like, I don't know. It's
But you
interesting.
can blame Eros for that.
It's just the
We
way
started it, and
NPCs
I
work.
just rolled with it.
Yeah. Well, okay, get 2 inspiration points, Strike. And you guys go to bed, and does anyone else want to do anything before they go to bed? That's 3 Mississippi. Okay.
I'm not going to do anything, but I will mention when I sleep, I am invisible because I do this and it's funny.
I think that's hilarious. That's true. That's
Until you move? Do you move in your sleep, or?
Nah.
Corsair, get another inspiration point. That's cool imagery.
Or lack thereof?
Okay.
As well as shadows.
Well,
It's
then, if you haven't already
death.
accounted for your long rest, account for your long rest. Most of you don't really need to do much anyways with that. And you guys can decide how early you want to wake up the next morning and how you want to spend your day.
Well,
I imagine somewhere in the first 2 hours of the morning before everyone kind of goes ways, if they go their separate ways, there would be an opportunity for you all to be together in the house.
I'm picking up the dress. First thing. Very first thing, I'm picking up the
going
dress.
after the Gorgons.
we gotta. There's a procedure to all of this.
We don't just rush in and kill shit. And I'm telling you that is the barbarian, so that's saying something.
Yeah, coming from the guy who rushes in and kills shits in the last session.
That was different. We were in the middle of combat already, okay?
Farum was already in Destruction Terminator mode, so
But he's literally a warforged, so that's different.
We're not rushing in the fight, but we can at least get over there and scout out the area, see how many there are, see what they're doing, see if they're even a problem. Like, yes, they could be a problem, but also they could be in the wrong environment. If they just appeared here and they're like, "Oh, what are we doing here?" and they're just freaking out, it's like, what are we supposed to do? You know?
Well, before we even get to that conversation, Eros would wake up. She'd wake up like she normally does early in the morning, like 6 o'clock, pretty much like sunrise would probably be. And just because it hasn't been done in a while, yeah, she's walking around naked and is making, with the limited food, there is some form of breakfast for everyone. Waiting for everyone to be up.
Can I use locate object to locate her clothes so then I can get them on her?
Can I cast remove curse and brings her clothes back?
Yes. Dispel magic and the clothes come back.
It's a curse that Arizona is ridiculous. I love it.
Or I use teleport to teleport her to her wardrobe. Or just banish her.
Cast creation and make them close.
Yes, you can do that.
You said it now. You could have saved me so much money.
I just spent a bunch
Never-ending
of clothes.
wardrobe.
Well, your clothes wouldn't be magical though, so.
Oh, you want magical
Mhm.
clothes?
I can use my minor conjuration to make magical clothes. They disappear in an hour, but
It'll be close for an hour, so you.
Just imagining, like, Arrow's having a very serious conversation wearing those clothes. The hour goes by, it's just gone. She just continues casually having the conversation. Everyone looks like, what the fuck?
No, that would be exactly what Eros would do.
Yeah.
Not even notice.
Hey, if the
And even if
clothes
she does know, she doesn't
Arrow
care.
takes them off herself.
Nope, wouldn't care.
Open asexual, I'm telling you.
All right, so I'm writing down mage close battle. Happens in the early morning. If you guys want to spend those spell slots, spend those spell slots. But
mean,
welcome to Eros.
Yeah, Eros is. I mean, I don't know how anyone's going to react to it, but she's just naked in the kitchen cooking. So
Strike's seen it so many times he doesn't give a fuck.
Well, Strike is also mostly naked too, but he's a badger man, so he
Yeah,
has
he
fur.
used to wear clothes, but they ripped every time he went to commit, so he just gave up.
So. But you guys in the Animaesus world, most Animaesus don't wear clothes. It's weird for them to put on a shirt or something. Some of them do, just because it helps them fit in with how society has kind of crafted itself in the last
it's
couple
almost
hundred
like
years.
it's normal.
Sort of. To
So
the
Strike
Animaesus, most Animaesus pay little mind to these kind of to those things. But the human and dwarven and elven cultures have brought in a lot of clothes, and they've kind of seen those utility, I think, in some ways. But I love the imagery.
with elves being so predominantly depicted in the forest, it's weird that they wear clothes at all.
In some ways,
I mean, it's still good protection for your skin.
yeah. I picture wood elves are running around in like sundresses, and like they don't, especially in this part of the world, the few that are here. But nonetheless, cooking dinner. What do you make? We're making breakfast. There's probably not a lot. There's probably like some ham and whatever bread was left over from the night before.
Yeah, it's just scraps and whatnot. Not much.
Yeah, so enough for everyone to have a couple bite. Enough where everyone's gonna probably be hungry again soon, logically speaking. But you have various
how many
clothing accoutrement. Maybe, kind of. I don't know. And what else? What do you guys do in the morning?
How many rations would we have left after those 6 days?
You had 6 days.
So I'm just eating some of my rations and leave the good stuff for later.
Yeah. You guys, the Mustelli would have fed you a little bit, but I think you would still have to eat your rations. Okay, there's unless you, which is whatnot, but we can just account from it from here on forth. I'm fine with that. For ease of things.
Some harass jerky never hurts.
Okay. Well, in the morning, what do you do?
Yeah, what is Dolly and Alexander doing in the morning?
We're not gonna get access to any of the library or the knowledge until we do this, which really that's all I really value is just knowledge. So however I can get knowledge, I guess I could ask around, but unless they have like an academy or a research facility or something in the morning, I'm probably just studying books that I have on me, or just playing with some of my spells, just seeing how they work, seeing if I can improve them. Don't got a lot to do.
You at least come to get some food?
He walks in, he sees you naked, and then he walks back out.
This guy's problem.
Yeah, Dolly's just gonna.
Immediately lost appetite.
Dolly's just walking by. Is like, well, what'd you do a 180 for? Oh, okay, you're one of those people.
Yeah, imagine just him walking. He's about to walk into the door, turns the corner, and then does the sharpest 180 you can see, and then turns back around the corner.
Every
like
time
someone's-
something like this happens, I think of Cat Dog. Just a
I
little
think of
mouse
Cat
walking
Dog.
out
I think
and
of Homer's
back.
The Simpsons. I think Chowder.
Yeah,
In fact,
Yeah,
I'm finding the GIF right now. Hold up.
like the GIF of that one guy just this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. It's his grandpa who just comes in.
exactly like that.
Yep.
One brain cell.
Yep, that's me. Pretty much what I do.
Hmm. One of what people?
Oh, is he just that hungry, or what's going on here?
I mean, I guess it's not much to eat, but hell, it's something at least.
I don't see the issue here.
I guess I don't know.
Well, we weren't exactly warned beforehand of all that, and she just spreads her hands out like
Eros just
over
tilts.
her.
Eros just tilts her head, going, "All what?"
What do you mean? Oh, because you're not wearing gloves. They're not used to it yet.
Eros looks down, looks back up, looks down again, looks back up. I mean, sure. What? No one's ever seen a naked person before?
Yeah, humans too, remember? They're kind of weird about it.
Eh.
Yeah, well, normally
Oh,
we get a
boy,
warning beforehand. We don't just walk in on it.
Why would you need a warning?
It's all natural, isn't it?
Because culture and stuff like that, whatever. I don't really
You're in
care that
the
much.
wrong group when you're looking for cultural stuff. We generally don't really care.
You people are weird.
Yeah.
As she has a plate that she makes and hands it to you, Dolly, and then she walks out onto the balcony and like stretches in the light of the sun.
Thank you kindly. And she'll go and eat. But the person with eyes all over their clothes and eyes in their hair that are, well, they're fake eyes, but they're still eyes. They're weird. Yeah, who would have thought?
I think someone like that wouldn't be appalled by something like broadly gestures and arrows. This.
I mean, having eyes all over you, that doesn't sound weird at all. But being disturbed by someone being naked? That's
perfect,
just
dude.
weird.
Yeah.
Oh, woe is me.
Nouvelle is not awake yet. The kids are awake. They're starting to divvy out food. Scarf it down.
Oh yeah, I should go and wake her up.
You have to knock on the door a few times. She eventually comes to the door, hair disheveled. Just give me a few minutes. I hate the sun.
I just give her a cheeky grin. That's all that needs to be said.
And she eventually will come down, have whatever's left of the food. And she, eating greedily, mouthful, will probably. So, are we doing research today, or are we
We're gonna
Going
go.
north.
We're gonna go north. Let's help them out first, since we're not paying our stay here. I'm gonna go put on my clothes. Someone tell the lost puppy that we're gonna head off. Um, Roxana, can you stay with the kids though?
She nods across from the table at that as she drinks the last of her water for the morning. No problem.
Cool. And Eros goes back to her room to put on her clothes.
We'll be
I'll
right
go.
there. That's when just pick up Nouvelle and we go to pick up the dress before I forget about it.
Okay. Um. I will account for that later on her sheet. Okay. You guys gather outside the mansion and look at the directions more or less that were given to you by the locals of the attacks that have happened north. I would like whoever's leading the group to roll a survival check. You have advantage because of the information you've given, and the DC is 5 lower than what it would be normally.
Who has
Uh,
the highest wisdom?
I have a 9 in survival.
I have a 7 in survival.
I have an 8.
Is that our highest? 8?
But I'm also on the way for dress pickup, so I can't really lead the group.
highest
you're probably
in
coming up in the end. So Eris is slightly higher. With an 8. If we're gonna do it that way. So advantage
I have
if
some
you
other
want.
things to do as well.
Okay.
So
So you guys it'll probably take him about 45 minutes to grab the dress. Oh, what do you do?
that's a 20.
What do you do?
Sorry, when I said other things, I meant other things to add to the check if I needed to.
Oh, like other. I thought you meant other things at the city.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no. As
Okay, so
in
you
my side eyes is what I was referring to. My apologies.
travel. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Um, you beat the check. We're fine. It will take you. It's 10 miles out of the city. It depends on how fast you want to move. You could do it in a normal pace at like 4 hours, or you could rush to get there, but don't give yourself an opportunity to see as well as you're not paying attention, and you could get there in 2 hours if you wanted, depending on how quickly you guys wanted to move.
Uh, I would myself like to at least, take in the sights a little bit to stay aware of our surroundings. So I'd rather take 4 hours than 2.
Okay. I don't hear any nays. Okay. Then I would
Yeah, I
like.
can't.
Then I would like a perception check from the group, based upon whatever you would like, sight, hearing, or smell, as you guys get towards the end of the 4 hour kind of period.
Oh, jeez. I
Hmm.
totally forgot. I have a familiar.
You have to summon them, but yeah.
I totally forgot that I had a familiar. That's what I've been doing this morning. Summoning the owl that I have.
Oh, that's right. Um,
Ow. Onion
I am a perceiving god.
Alexander's familiar's name. Type.
okay. The 18 from Corsair lets you see a cliff face with a waterfall leading into the water. You're approaching from the southeast of it. And there's a stream that leads into this waterfall. Large kind of pine trees kind of sparse around it. And then it takes you a moment to kind of see the worn and grated and broken ancient couple hundred years, I guess, footsteps of the Tarrasque when they were in this area fighting. And you see a glint of metal, almost like a mirror, and then you see at least two others, like three in total. You're pretty sure up on this, like near on the other side of this cliff face from you, and like the cliff eventually falls away from you down into the water. The 31 lets you see that there's a fourth glint, and these glints you're pretty sure are these gorgon, like it's like they're resting or something. You didn't think they did that, but you know it seems like that's what they're doing for the most part. Up there, and the fourth one, they're metallic in your understanding of them. They are loosely garnered together by metal. The fourth one, there's a different kind of color to him. It's odd. I don't know. It's just something. There's a little difference to it. None, but other than that, there is pockmarks, so to speak, of like places where the ground has been destroyed by some sort of dilapidating effect, like essence or poison or even acid. And then there's obvious marks where hoofs have been dug in and where trees have been ripped up with horns and things like that from all around. And then bodies periodically. There's just been dragged here and placed almost like trophies around this quote unquote lair. Like
Question. How far is the drop from where we are at the cliff face?
you're pretty far away from the cliff face at this current point. It's a couple 100 feet away. By your best gauge with your passive perception, it's like 50 to 70 feet drop.
Oh yeah, I got featherfall, guys. We can just like float down there if we wanted to. But let's come up with a game plan.
They're at the top of the cliff. The cliff just like falls away from you.
Oh.
You guys can kind of see it.
Oh.
You're at
Oh,
the
I thought
top
they
too.
were.
You're just away from them.
Oh, I thought they were below us, and we're at the top looking at glints. No. Oh no. Where? Oh.
You're on this same level playing field for the most part right now.
Oh,
Could have been such a
no.
nice plunging attack.
Right?
Bunch
Right.
of
Tutorial boss.
So, okay, with that, Eros would raise her hand up to. She would raise her hand up, stop moving, and would say, "Okay, we should probably be a little bit more quiet. They're resting at the moment. Like, they're just over there." And she'll point in the exact direction that they are. One of them is a little bit odd, though, in their coloring.
Is anyone here able to make us sneakier? By chance.
Nope, no spells for that.
Hmm.
Do
Matter
we
of
notice anyone in heavy armor?
none of us wear heavy armor.
When do we use armor?
Thank God. Oh.
I can't make a sneaky, but I can make very loud noises with certain spells.
Same.
I would advise against that. And Eros is going to pull out of her bag her golden focus and is going to begin casting clairvoyance.
Oh wait, actually, I lied. I do have. I have this.
That's both phrase.
No, greater invisibility. So I can make one person stealthy.
Could you? If I
Maybe
can
you
get within, if I can get within 60 feet of all of them, I can do a funny meme.
We're
Give
all for
me-
memes.
Just give me 10 minutes and I'll get a better view
Okay.
of the situation.
Oh, we can come up with a game plan by then.
So we're going these guys. Okay, I assume we're gonna attack them within the hour. I am gonna cast a spell.
Actually, that would be smart. You see Alexander open up his satchel, reach in, and grab out this long staff. And he taps it on the ground, and he's gonna use one charge to cast Mage Armor on himself.
I am going to cast this.
Mage Armor is 13 plus Dex, so that's 16. So 17 right now. So my AC is 17 currently.
I have two questions. Am I strike back yet? And how far are they?
Mr. DM's muted. Mr. DM.
I didn't even roll for my hit points yet. Whoops, I should do that.
Is
Mr. DM?
strike back
That's
from
not.
what?
From the dress pickup. It was
That's already
scheduled to
happened.
be in the morning. That's already
That's
happened. Okay, then we all
We
there.
traveled for 4 hours after that already.
Okay, good. And how far away are they?
Are you bringing shallow butter with you guys?
Is
No.
she too hungover to fight?
Are you bringing shallow butter with you?
Roll a wisdom check.
A good idea. I'm rolling for wisdom.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
So if I can,
Actually, let me just use the inspiration for the 22 and say no.
No.
Okay, she's drunk. It's insight, not wisdom save, but yes.
Oh. Same number anyway.
Okay. She probably mechanical terms she will be poisoned for this fight. If you bring
Yeah,
it.
so no.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You have an arrow, so you don't have to worry about convincing her. Eventually, I think one of you would have to step in, but clairvoyance. Okay. What are you?
I am
seeing?
I am seeing for the moment. I'm aiming it exactly where they are all resting, right above them, so they can't notice it too well. I mean, technically, no, they can't notice it at all unless they have like true sight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's more interesting if I do it that way. Okay, where you're at on the bridge is where the clairvoyance kind of appears because you see this bridge in the distance and you make it appear and you see this. That's what you see. They are all standing but one. One over here down a little bit off this little precipice is
Did you switch the map?
laying down.
Okay. And because it has a different token, is it noticeably different, or is it just I'm just seeing different tokens, but they're pretty much the exact same?
I'm still on the first map.
Yeah, because you're not a clairvoyant.
Gotcha.
And okay, is it roll me a nature check.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
Does great
I
invisibility drop?
love all these
if he-
20s today.
You generally get the impression that this looks more like a cow, where these three look like steers. Do you understand the difference?
Yeah, cows are more
Like-
domestic, but steers are more.
Well, no,
wild,
like
or-
No.
cow
Male.
also like female.
Yeah, that's yeah,
Like
right.
this one has like female udders, like sort of that are like metal. Like it's really weird.
Oh no,
Um,
they fuck.
and
Hey,
then
fuck.
That would definitely be what Eros would be saying, like, they fuck? Just out loud?
and Eros with that nat 20, this is unheard of. These things are crafted, born from magical, weird things, being given birth. What the fuck? This is a mutation,
Right.
not normal.
And this giant one, does it seem like
He's
We're-
daddy.
yeah.
He's daddy.
Wait,
And in simplest terms, it looks like he has more health. Like he looks beefy. He just looks like there's
Oh,
more
yeah.
on him.
Looks like a
Wait,
challenge.
so if this is daddy and that's mommy, then
Your nature check would let you know that these are children that have grown.
they fuck. The fuck?
What does that mean?
Um,
Why is it surprising? I don't get
So-
it.
Corsair, what's your character's name again? I'm not. Is it Birdman?
Dolly.
Dolly.
Dolly. Okay, I don't see your name in the lands thing. I only see Alexander Birdman.
Oh, I
Oh yeah,
forgot
for
to-
next
I forgot
session,
to show you guys
Birdman
these.
is named Brian.
yeah.
Just call him Brian. He loves that.
Dolly. Dolly, would you mind how far away did you say are we from them?
Are you about to dimension door me?
No, no. I was
With
gonna
your
ask.
perception checks to make sense, you're probably within a dimension door range. It's somewhere between 300 to 500 feet, like it's a distance.
Okay, I was wondering if Dolly, you wanted to cast Greater Invisibility on me, just so I could go check it out, because I think Greater Invisibility doesn't have the thing where it drops if you cast the spell, right?
No, but it only lasts a minute.
Oh yeah, I would not be able to.
No, greater invisibility lasts in all.
No, it only lasts a
No,
minute.
no.
You sure?
Only a minute?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
only a
Double
minute.
check that.
Great,
Great
you casted
invisibility.
this on
Jeez.
concentration.
for 1 minute.
A minute, yeah.
Yep.
Greed, you casted this on fucking.
Yeah, but I'm not very smart. Okay, leave me alone. 1
Yeah.
minute. Okay.
Well, that's the difference between the two. Like invisibility, it lasts longer, but
Yeah,
you
1
can't
minute. That's true.
do all those things. Greater
I guess-
invisibility is designed for combat.
Well, yeah, I just need to get within. Oh, his Discord froze. Well, I just need to get within 60 feet of these things without being spotted. If I can get within 60 feet of these things without being spotted, I can attempt something and we can bypass the whole, this whole situation.
What would you be attempting?
Eighth
Okay.
level banishment. It can target 4
Sweet.
different creatures.
It works now. What are you trying to banish me?
You're going to
No,
banish?
I'm trying to banish all 4 of them at once. Or at
Okay.
least as many as I can.
Arrow, can I do an Arcana check to see if that would work, or does my nature check let me know? Because I don't think Eros knows how banishment works in the first place.
She saw Altupar do it before. I'd probably kind of read up on it, maybe? That's my idea.
If I can make an Arcana check to see if I can't explain it.
I mean, you could probably explain it just well enough. Just whether Eros knows it inherently is the thing. So I'm not.
got
So
it.
I'm not asking the question itself.
Oh, okay.
Can I roll an Arcana check for it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you.
I have
You
an
cast
8.
Matt.
I will spend a side eye to try and boost it up a bit more. Oh, it's a 16.
It was a DC 14. You understand the basic idea of what banishment does.
Okay, but so I at least understand that if they're not from the same plane, that they'll remain on that other plane.
You understand that idea.
Do we
Okay.
know if they came from this plane or not? We were talking about popping in earlier, but they're created too.
Which would be what I'm if I need to roll another check for it, but if my nature check would let me know that information.
Ironically enough, your name. I'll go. We'll roll with the nature check because I think this. I don't know. They, as far as anyone understands, and I will say this: there are DCs higher than 20. As far as anyone understands, Gorgon are from here, or from the material plane. Like they're found on almost every continent.
Then banishment will just bring them back after a bit.
So it'll allow you to manipulate the battlefield, and there's no guarantee you'll get all 4 with the cast
No,
either.
of course.
But it'll allow you to focus more on one rather than another if it works out that way. So there's
Yeah.
not as many running around, which
So we can banish them, wait, and if they come back, and if they do, we throw them to bits. Easy.
and you need an item distasteful to the target for banishment to work, anyways.
True. What would be distasteful to a Gorgon?
Well,
A red towel.
A rud? A
No.
what?
A red towel.
No.
I was gonna say
A mirror?
a mirror.
They're not
I
that
don't
ugly.
know.
Come on. Don't be
I thought it
rude.
was the breath weapon that did that though.
Okay, so should we bring out some toothpaste?
A toothbrush. Yeah, I was gonna
A
say.
toothbrush.
I bring out a toothbrush.
Look,
I'm gonna say you guys don't know what would be distasteful to a Gorgon.
Okay, then I guess we might have to just,
Darn, he has dental insurance.
Like
fight 'em.
these are not like they're on every continent, but that doesn't mean you're gonna find them every day. Like they're not like a little fox or a beaver.
Actually,
Okay.
I could try something else. You said one of them's a bull, right? One of them's the daddy.
well, Arrows hasn't
What-
explained that yet, so
Okay.
Well, yes.
I'll wait for Arrows to explain it if they choose.
So you watch them for the time. You guys are far enough away that they don't seem to care that you're here, and you're downwind from them, which is also good. So
Eros would say, yeah, I don't think banishment will work. I bet they're from our plane of existence. But there's something weird about them. I don't know much, but what I do know is they're supposed to be created like any other machine, but
Wait, the machines?
kind of. They're forged in a way, like armor, but armor that moves. Kind of like
So
Cash, actually.
So they're autonomous pieces of armor, essentially.
That's what they should be, meaning they shouldn't be able to procreate. But the way they look like a family. Like one of them is big, like a bull. Another one is like a cow. And two of them, the last two are like steers, like they're children or something.
So it could be an actual herd.
I mean,
Right.
it's a herd in terms of numbers, but more of an actual family, yeah. But that shouldn't
Whoa.
be possible.
they are relatively inanimate when you watch them. They don't move very much.
Well,
Like,
oh,
so.
sorry.
No, that's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, Mr. Nature Girl, if
Mr. Nature
Arrows, if one were to, if the bull were to say to the others, "Let's leave," would they most likely follow his orders?
Probably. What I do know about animals is this much. that if the males are bigger, it's probably more of a patriarchal society than it is a
What calls
matriarchal.
matriarchs?
Because I can dominate monster, and I can take over this thing's head, and pretty much tell it to take its family and leave.
I mean, if it is a monster, then that might work. But
Sure.
there
Monsters
are
work.
also a few corpses nearby that are like trophies, it looks like. Less like something they're planning to eat, more like just thrill the hunt type of thing. So my guess is, even if you tell them to leave, they're just gonna find another place to kill people at. Not really solving the problem, more of just pushing it somewhere else for someone else to deal with.
So what are we
Yeah.
waiting for? Throw fireballs, soften them up, and then we go in and finish them off.
Now, I don't know how to cast Fireball.
Not you, the wizard. Every wizard can cast fireball, right?
Oh, do you know how to commit war crimes?
Yeah, war crimes, right?
A couple.
That's fine.
Only a
Narrow it
couple?
down.
I'm not.
Well-
I'm not. It is only a couple. I wouldn't say one. I would say a couple war crimes. Yeah.
Hmm.
Why?
Well, we're gonna need those war crimes, and then we should probably also look into their anatomy or something. I don't know.
European war crimes.
I
Even
can
more
trap one of
animal
monsters if you want.
Me
I
too.
mean, if you can do it safely, I would recommend
yeah.
trapping the female. That would be the more interesting one. Like literally, it has metal udders, metal tits. The fuck is that?
I wonder
That's
what kind of
a good
milk
point.
this
That's
is.
rather unusual.
Have you ever had Gorgon milk?
I don't.
They make
It's
milk?
not. They shouldn't make anything.
Well, now I'm
Questions
interested
I
in the
never
Gorgon milk.
thought I would hear.
What Gorgon milk?
Is
I,
it
High in
You
iron or
made this.
calcium?
You made this, DM.
that doesn't mean I expected the question about Gorgon milk. That's
Are we gonna go metal?
Well, if you give
metal
something
not?
udders, it's gonna have milk.
you know, technically, I guess.
Hey,
Technically.
wait. If one of
Now
them.
I'm interested in the Gorgon milk.
Wait, if
That's
the
an
female.
inspiration.
If the female does have milk, that means the male would have to have sperm.
That's a very good point.
We're harvesting
No.
those organs right the fuck now.
No.
Wizard, go commit
Have you
war
guys?
crime.
Have you guys? Have
Come
you,
on.
okay, now have you guys seen Your Highness?
No.
Okay,
No.
well, they fight a minotaur and then they cut off the minotaur's dick as like a trophy.
Oh, and they put on the necklace. Yeah, it's with Danny McBride.
Like
Yeah,
now, I'm just
Your
picturing you guys
Highness.
with like
Yeah.
metal dicks and balls.
Well, yeah. So I have a couple. I can summon some war crimes, and I can commit some war crimes.
Yeah, as long as
Okay.
war crimes occur, we'll be fine.
Both.
Those of you that have a passive perception above 15, Eros would notice probably first, just because I know theirs is the highest. That the two steers have begun to shift and move, trying to investigate something. I would like the group to roll a stealth check if you would like them to, for you to remain in control of the initiative.
I
Shit,
will
shit, shit,
use
shit.
I will use one inspiration to roll with advantage.
Okay, and I rolled active checks that I whispered to myself for the
Actually.
DC here.
22.
God damn.
And this is a group check, so everyone needs to roll.
I'm giving Strike an inspiration, bardic inspiration.
Thank you very much. That's a D8, right?
Yeah, D8.
And I'm gonna need
Do okay. I guess.
You might want to use a point to give yourself advantage or plus 20 or something. I don't know.
It's cool. It's a group check. You guys don't just can't fuck up.
Well, I got a 25.
I got a 22.
Do I cast greater invisibility for this?
Most monsters don't have higher than
Not
12.
right now. I would think if you're in trouble, then cast it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna roll normally, I guess. Damn.
Take a bardic inspiration on top of that.
It's a point. It's a group one. We already have one failure. If we have another failure, it.
Cool. So
D8.
Bardic at this level is like a D10, is it?
It's a D8.
D8. Okay.
Multi-class.
11.
Are you really not gonna?
Okay. So...
I have full inspiration and I want to level up again, okay? I want to save it.
12. Okay.
I want my action surge.
Imagine the equivalent of 2 foghorns mixed with the sound of an angry cow,
Yeah.
right? Being bellowed from the direction of where these were laying. And then just obvious as they take off towards your direction. And then imagine following those 2 foghorn angry cow noises, another one bellows right afterwards, but has this additional undertone of like metal being scraped on a chalkboard. It's like
Ew.
echoes through it. And then continues to towards the direction.
Okay.
You did not beat the group stealth check for them not to notice you're here. You still have an opportunity to roll a stealth check to avoid being seen as they get closer. But they obviously picked up on a weird scent or something as you guys waited during this time. So I would like another stealth check versus their passive perception as they're running through the trees. Which is a lower DC than the one you were just trying to roll against.
This is a stealth check to not be seen, right?
This is a stealth check to get an opportunity to duck behind a boulder or something as they go
Wait,
through.
I got an idea. Can I just stick underground? I have a burrowing speed.
That would be very noticeable.
I'm just gonna cast.
Use dig.
They're
You
also
can't-
not very smart.
All I'm gonna say, strike, is if you want to do it. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm just gonna cast greater invisibility.
I don't like the flex with it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, strike. Use dig.
Strike!
Strike have another bardic inspiration.
Thank you.
As Eros also says,
it's super effective.
As Eros also says, Strike, you should have taken a bath last night. The fuck, man?
You stop figure, keep me up. But no.
Okay. Greater invisibility, whatnot. Very cool. Okay, then give me a second to drop you all on a different map.
Another thing I am going to do. I'm going to use this, and I'm gonna fly up.
Oh yeah, you don't have to worry about shit if you're in the air.
That's a good idea.
Hey.
It's a very good idea.
So yeah, you all just see Dolly just sort of sprout black bird wings for a moment.
We don't see shit.
No, she does the wings before she goes invisible.
Oh, okay.
I'm swapping the order she does that. Like, yeah, you just see her sprout black bird wings with the same eyes on her dress for a moment, and then she just disappears.
Where'd you go?
Here she goes, and a little too high and a little too low.
Somewhere where I don't have to deal with this, buddy.
Because she thinks she's made of candy.
Okay,
Climb speed question
mark?
What? What?
Question.
Do you have a climb speed that affects
Yes!
that? Okay.
I can cast the
Uh, uh,
spell to get a climb speed.
Well, we'll get to that point.
I can fly.
Okay. You guys hear and see these things trudging through the rocks, jumping over them here periodically. They make their way towards you all, and you all basically get to this point to where you, for all intents and purposes, are hidden from them as they either run past you or stop here at this moment to try to gain their breath and look around. And you see the surreal, ghastly lack of eyes in them, and this every time they breathe and exhale out, there's an obvious like green aura of unctuous nastiness that kind of comes out. And then there's this big ass one that his horns are just covered and stained in blood, unlike the other two. What would you like to do? They, for the moment, with invisibility and stealth, you seem to have them unaware.
Eros will whisper to Alexander, "Those war crimes would come in real handy right now."
Well, I don't know what they dislike, but I can do this.
I'm just entering my rage. Fuck
Do
it.
you want?
I'm sorry.
Damn,
Sid.
he just went for it.
Like,
Look,
besides the
I
fact
need-
that this thing already has blood on his horns, I'm already thinking it's a chonky horse, and I'm just gonna call this the chonky Gorgon. Like how big this boy is.
You got quick, shout Leroy Jenkins.
Eros would say to Alexander, "You look at me. Look at me. I am nothing but a
What?
snack, okay?
Yes,
A small and sexy snack. Do something. I can't do shit."
You want me to do something? You want me to do something? Okay, fine. Okay, watch this. You know what? We're gonna pull it out. You know what? Go big or go home. First thing, he's gonna pull out a ruby vial, and you know what's fucking coming. He's gonna pull out a ruby vial worth 600 GP.
Oh.
You're not going to summon demons, are you?
And you see him cut himself slightly,
Oh.
drip the blood into the ruby vial.
We summoning
Close it.
fiends, boys.
And you see him just clasp his hands together, and a whole sigil surrounds his body.
Oh,
then-
it's that one.
Right behind the big, right behind him, this big one, summon fiend. And I'm going to choose.
Fight something I can fight if worst comes to worst.
Yeah, I think I'm going to choose.
Are you thinking of chaos? And are you thinking of ordered
I'll tell you in a moment.
destruction? Or are you talking about mercenaries?
I
May
think I know.
chaos take the world!
Whoa.
Yeah, chaos control. I just need to make sure because 5e tools is not giving me the whole thing, and there's an ad on my screen.
What
This fiend summoning was brought to you by
Raid Shadow Legends!
Raid Shadow Legends!
Brought to you by
Seeing how the sheet isn't ready, we'll say you summon and everyone rolls initiative, and we're gonna call it there for today because it's already 3:30.
No! I want to keep going.